I set boundaries with my mother during my pregnancy because I feel like she doesn't care.
I like just don't care.
Just don't freaking care. Hi everyone, I've had this in my drafts for a while now, but decided to post it to a throwaway account. For context, I, 24 female, had my partner, 26 male, and I's first child a year and a half ago. Since then, a lot has happened on my side of the family, and I want to know if I'm a bad daughter for choosing to distance myself from one of my parents. By the way, this comes from Superb Jello 9064, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my parents were in the process of separating when I gave birth and are now divorced. Both have moved on to other people who are great, but this is where I need to know if I am the a-hole. The parent I am pulling back from is my mom. I love her, but over the years she has said some things that have really hurt. I want to talk to her about the things that have been said and the things that have gone down, but if I bring it up, it turns into her crying and not talking to me. I found out in my pregnancy with our first child that I had an anxiety disorder because my brain couldn't make serotonin, and recently found out I have bipolar as well. So that's why I think the problem is it's my brain overanalyzing. Growing up, my parents had a very tumultuous relationship and they fought constantly. One fight I do remember hearing a lot was how my mom wanted boys and got 3 girls.
If you're not ready for either one,
Then
you're
you're
not
not
ready
ready.
for any of it.
My dad would say, yeah, I get it, but we have 3 good daughters who we love. I just thought it was my mom wanting another baby, and that was her way of trying to get my dad on board with the idea. Fast forward to 2022 to 2023, we find out I'm pregnant with the first grandchild. Lots of excitement and nerves, but overall a very joyful experience. We decide to do a gender reveal with our parents, grandparents, and my 2 aunts and uncles and cousins. So in total, about 25 people, including myself and my partner, were there. After planning the reveal with my 2 aunts and kind of mom, she didn't have time and didn't really want to help. I get that I was the one who wanted to do it, so she isn't responsible for the event. Anyway, the day comes, we have food and a balloon for poppin', and we find out we're having a boy. He's the cutest human ever. This is where I'm wondering if I'm the overly sensitive one. My mom all of a sudden bursts out in tears and yells, "Finally a boy!" Nothing of it, but my husband and her had talked about how she never wanted girls for years now. So he did pull her aside and say, "Hey, let's not say that. She might be hurt by that." My mother-in-law also told her, "Hey, it's not your kid, it's your grandkid, so let's dial it back." I told them both that it wasn't necessary and she's just excited for us. Jump to July and I'm in labor. I asked my mom to be in the room with my husband and I. I think this was a mistake. She was all over the place telling me I'm breathing wrong, my husband isn't supportive enough, and that if I get an epidural, she would be super upset. I didn't want an epidural, but I don't think she needed to say that. Baby is finally here and I'm bleeding pretty bad, but they did get it under control pretty quick. I was scared and I'm trying to hold my newborn as they're trying to get the bleeding under control. And my mom is on the phone crying about how she finally got her boy. She then argued with my husband that she should get to hold him before anyone else. I don't think including him, but she did try to keep taking him from my husband while they stabilized me. I hear my husband say her name and say, "Your daughter needs you, and I need to go over here to help get baby's vitals." She came over, asked if I was okay, and then went straight back to arguing with my husband about getting to hold the baby. Finally, my dad comes in the room as well as my sisters. My in-laws were out of town when I went into labor, but drove all night to be there with us the next day. To paint the scene, my dad is holding the baby and my mom is taking pictures of the baby and posting them. I asked her not to post until we felt ready, but that's okay. She was very excited. She turns to my dad, who she was in the middle of leaving, and says, "They finally had their boy." My dad hands the baby off to my older sister and takes her out of the room. I hear them fighting and she comes back in mad. Ever since then, it's been all about how she finally had a boy and has told me she never wanted kids, but she's grateful she did have us girls because we are her whole world now. We found out back in November of 2024 that I'm pregnant with a little girl and my mom ghosted me again. The only way I see her is if she's wanting to see her boy. I decided to start pulling away from her after we found out I was pregnant with a little girl because I feel like she doesn't even care. Am I the a-hole? And there is an update, but what do you think? No.
Go ahead and say no.
Your mom does not care about you or your children. She just wants the boy, and that's it.
She just wants the boy. Weird
Very
fixation.
weird, yeah.
Weird to make it multi-generational as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like I
your
still
whole
can't
life.
get away from you telling me I shouldn't exist in a way. Like,
No.
or you just wished, or I wish she didn't exist. I wish she was a
And like the fact of, having her be in the room when you give birth to this child, which is such a big moment and usually is this kind of very big bonding moment between a mother and, child. And then for her to not even care for you, her to not even try and comfort you. And she's just like, let me hold the boy.
She just cares for the boy.
But there's an update. So I have read all of your comments and I'm so grateful for all of your responses. They have helped me cope with the idea that she and I might never change. I did tell her about 4 months ago about the bipolar diagnosis, and she said, this is always like you. You always need a label. Everyone always needs labels. Oh my God. I don't want to think much of that because my mom does come from the generation where they don't want to talk about it. Anyways, on Wednesday, I have an OB appointment for an ultrasound. She really wants to come, and I'm going to let her. I did tell her about a week ago that she cannot be in the delivery room this time because my mother-in-law only has one child, and that is my husband. And I just want her to be there and get to experience that because she has always wanted to. Either way, I also didn't want another meltdown from her again. I'm nervous for Wednesday. We're getting an ultrasound to see if my placenta has moved out of the way of my cervix or if I'm going to need a C-section. If I get a C-section, I'm afraid of what she will say, but I still really want her to be a mom. And this is her showing interest in her granddaughter, so I'm trying to embrace it. I'll update you all after the appointment. Thank you again for all your support. And there is a second update.
I bet it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
It's
Bethany,
probably going to be about how she just cares about the boy and tried to throw me in the trash.
Bethany says, I wouldn't let this woman around my son or daughter. She will harm both of their mental health, especially the daughter. Update 2. This is a long one, and I'm very sorry for that. Also, trigger warning, possible mental abuse. So in my last update, I said my mom would be going to the OB appointment for the ultrasound. She ended up going on a work trip, so she wasn't in attendance, but that didn't stop her from being present, quote unquote. I don't want anyone to think she's a terrible person, but after what happened over the week, my husband is done with her. I don't want to go completely no contact with my mom because I still really want her in my life. And I still want to try for a relationship with her. What ended up happening was Wednesday, we had the appointment and baby is doing amazing. She's growing and thriving. We got to get some 3D photos of her precious face. We saw the doc and I have an amazing OB, but the closest hospital to us that does labor and delivery is a little over an hour away. This is important to know. Due to how far the hospital was the first time I gave birth, and we weren't sure if we would make it in time, my OB and I agreed induction was the safest and the best course of action for myself and baby boy. I know a lot of people think induction should only be for certain cases, but for some like myself who live in a very rural area, hospitals are far and few between. Either way, we learned that the softening agent that they give you wasn't needed for my son because I was 2 centimeters dilated and 85% were effaced when I got to the hospital. I was given a very, very small amount of Pitocin and they broke my water. He was out 1 hour later. Medically, each child, supposedly, if all goes well, comes out roughly 35 to 45 minutes faster than the first. But it also depends on the child and the mother. Due to the fact that my son came out so extremely quickly after my water broke, it's too much of a risk for us to allow me to go into natural labor, given how far the hospital is. Well, I was seeing my doctor and I requested to be induced because I was afraid of having my child on the side of a very high-speed highway that we would have to take to get to this hospital. He agreed and said that was the safest option we could do. I spoke with my mom on Wednesday night after she called me around 11 p.m. and she proceeded to tell me how she does not like the idea that I'm being induced and that it's for women who need immediate or medical attention, which I do agree with, but in certain cases, you're putting not only your life, but your brand new baby's life at risk if you were trying to deliver on the side of the road.
Like, why do you care?
After that conversation, she then proceeded to tell me that she did not want my mother-in-law in the delivery room. She would like to be in the room instead. I proceeded to tell her that since this is the last time I can be pregnant due to a heart condition, I would like to be able to share that moment with my mother-in-law, who only has one child. This is where it gets extremely triggering and what caused my husband to finally have his last nerve hit. Due to my anxiety disorder, I have a lot of irrational fears, and I've noticed that my mom does have a tendency to use them against me when she wants her way. One of these fears is labor. I have an uncontrollable fear of passing away in labor and never getting to hold my baby. Thankfully, my doctor has been so patient with me and says I have no reason to worry because even with my heart condition, I'm extremely healthy. My mother, knowing about this fear, went on to what I feel and what my husband feels is using it against me in our argument to be in the room. She said, I would like to be in the room because with you being induced, what if there are problems with labor and I'm not there? What would you do if you were there? You're not a doctor.
You've got no cards to play in this game.
For a very long time, up until after my son was born and still somewhat today, I have had a very unhealthy attachment to my mother. I'm constantly chasing her for love and attention, all according to my therapist. I'm working on it though. She then said, okay, bye, and hung up.
Okay, bye.
I then spent most of the night crying to my husband about how, what if she's right? Maybe we need to do this because of this, that, and the other. He snapped and said it wasn't fair to me to break my boundary because she uses my anxiety against me. He then told me it's not fair to our marriage, how she can get away with sending me into spirals and then shutting me out for days on end until I cave. I tried reaching out several times since that night and she keeps ignoring my calls. I finally got to speak with her today though. I didn't bring up how she made me feel. I was just happy to talk to her. By the way, we're always happy when you guys listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. It's Brittany Beach says, I hate this mother so much. Please get away, OP. Yeah,
it's just be gone. Be gone.
I think you need to go very low contact or no contact with your mother because it seems like you were trying to do that and then you let her back in.
Yeah. No
Understandably,
contact.
because you wanted, a connection with your mom when you're going through something like pregnancy.
No contact.
But she's making you upset and anxious. So this is not worth it.
No contact.
I wouldn't be breaking for her on this, but I'm so scared she will shut me out if I don't let her in the room. My mother-in-law hates her, and I know that my mom is in the room. My mother-in-law will be kind, but if my mom says anything that my husband or mother-in-law feel is a trigger for me, she might drag my mom out by the neck. What do I do? Do I allow her in the room and risk my mother-in-law metaphorically unaliving, or do I risk her shutting me out? I think you need to realize that your mom is guilting you and is using your desire to have her in your life and this fear that she'll leave you against you. She's using it to her advantage so that she can manipulate you and take what she wants, and that's not okay. But that is the end of that story. My relatives tried to ruin my sister's marriage for their greedy agenda.
They're gonna get ya. They're so greedy.
For context, my family is trying to get my elder sister, Layla, 24, married before my dad retires next year. Now, mom started looking for grooms when she was 23. Initially, Layla used to refuse to look at the photos on the matrimonial sites because she didn't want to get married this young. And me and my sister used to gang up and try to convince mom. But the elders were all with mom. Dad was playing the middleman, trying to please both sides. By the way, this comes from Tiny Curls, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, our Aunt Amy was the one who started pressuring mom. Our cousin, who is now just 21, was getting proposals, according to her, and she told mom that she has been declining, saying Layla is yet to get married, so they are not marrying her off now. This made mom tense up. She thought, what if Layla's marriage happens late and it affects her cousin's marriage? When I tried to defend Layla, they would tell me to shut up, that it's the elders' topic, and we're doing the right thing. Ugh, how much I hated that woman. Then one night, our uncles, my dad's elder and younger brother, let's call them John and Nick, called Dad to their house after 10 p.m. We were concerned, thinking it was some kind of emergency. They called Dad to tell him to start searching for grooms for Layla. Could they have not waited until the next day? Soon, Dad gave in and they searched for grooms together. There were some quarrels between Mom and Layla, but soon Layla gave in when Dad told her that he wanted to see her get married before he retires. Why? The first proposal was from a family where the man was working on a ship as some kind of engineer. But the place where they lived was so far and isolated, and his mother lived alone, so there was a huge probability that he would leave Layla with his mother after marriage, which is not acceptable. She wanted to work, and she didn't like that man, so he declined. Before declining, we had asked our Uncle Nick to check about this family and the person. At first, he said it was not a good proposal since his locality was not known for being good, and his friend circle seemed bad, so we dropped it. But after we dropped it, Nick came back again and said that was the best proposal ever. We said we were not interested, but he is still stuck with that proposal, saying that if Layla gets married to that man, she would take her younger cousins, aka his sons, for jobs abroad. The audacity, bruh! His sons were not even in high school yet, and he wanted Layla to get married to a man she doesn't like just for his son's sake? Then another proposal came. He seemed good in photos. His locality was fine. Family was fine. Job was fine. Everything looked perfect except for the age gap. He was 31 and Layla is just 24. We were not sure about that since Layla wanted someone close to her age, but we told them to come see her. When they came, the man was stoic as stone. He never talked or even smiled. She did the talking. She felt as if she was interviewing him. When he asked her if she was planning to keep her job, she told him that she had a plan to quit and study more and try teaching. That made the family lose interest. And the man seemed more job-oriented and less friendly since his family members were almost babying him. We didn't get a call from them again, so we dropped it. But when Layla told us that she didn't like that man, our Aunt Amy and her husband, our Uncle John, never said anything about dropping the proposal, but kept telling us about when we should go to that man's house. We didn't pay attention. Then the current proposal came. Let's say his name is Leon. He works in Dubai in a good company and in a high position, just 30 minutes away from our home. Just like us, he is from a middle-class family. His family came to see Layla and they liked her. They were the same as our parents. He liked her and Layla liked Leon too. They clicked instantly. He had a sister too, and so he was friendly with me as well. Everything seemed perfect. He wanted her to come with him to Dubai and work just like she wanted. The problem our aunt and uncles found was that Leon's dad ran a cycle workshop, but it never bothered Layla or our parents. We knew that Leon's dad worked hard to teach his two children. He built a house for them, does farming. Leon's sister is now studying architecture at one of the finest colleges in our state. And Leon worked too while studying, so we understood. But these three snakes started to call them names and told my dad that it was a bad proposal, that Leon's dad had the audacity to ask for marriage at our house. We were like, why are you judging the family based on the job? Leon is now working in one of the best companies and has a high salary. And even though his dad still has the cycle workshop, why does it matter? What matters is that Leon is a good person, will look after Layla, and can support a family financially. He had all of these capabilities. Everyone, literally everyone, except these three, told us why this was such a good proposal. And from my mom's side too, they were supporting us. They understood the situation because when my mom was married off to my dad, the only thing considered was my dad's job. My dad's family was the worst compared to my mom's. Dad's parents were just small farmers, while my mom's parents were government employees. Income-wise, both of them were different. But my mom's parents knew that they could make a better future together, and they did. They believed in them. And these uncles knew about their family background. They keep telling that Leon's family is not up to our standards. They got really high standards and also really low standards in other areas. Bro, what standards are you talking about? We're all middle-class families. We're not some business tycoons. What matters is, will she be happy with that man? That's all that matters. Leon's proposal was looking into after rejecting it 2 times. Now we find out that Leon's proposal had reached for our cousin, Amy and John's daughter, way before it reached us, but we called them first and are almost okay with the proposal. Mom thinks that they are posing this proposal so that they can marry our cousin with him. So they don't actually have any qualms with him, with Leon. They just want Leon for themselves. Those snakes in the grass trying to steal your eggs. And I don't think it's wrong. With Amy's character, she would do that. She has the history of being a cunning fox. She doesn't like when other people find success in their life. Bruh, mind your business. Amy actually controls John and Nick, being the eldest daughter-in-law in our dad's family. She thought it would give her some power to control everyone's life. She had made my mom's life a living heck for some years. Then my mom insisted to our dad that they move out. My mom still says that she started breathing freely after moving away from that witch. John and Nick are actually scared of Amy. My dad asks John and Nick's opinions before doing anything and has been grateful to his elder brother. But they were never the same to my dad, and my dad knows it. Still, He asks their opinion about everything. When Leon's parents came to see Layla for the first time, this Amy was making a fit in the kitchen as if Layla was bringing home her boyfriend. The parents of the boy who our parents found, who our parents called, were coming to see Layla. Amy tried so hard to talk crap about everyone, including our late aunt. She had a love marriage and divorce since it was abusive. And when she asked for a second marriage, Amy dragged it off to the point where our late aunt had to beg our brothers to find anyone and leave. After finding out that my dad is interested in Leon's proposal, Nick didn't have the balls to confront my dad about it. Instead, he called my mom's brother and talked crap about Leon's family and scolded my mom's brother for supporting this proposal. Mind you, Nick is a police officer. How did he even get into it with his small brain and confidence? Nick still insists that the first proposal was the best one. Nick and John have never been loving uncles to me or Layla, but they are the complete opposite to our other cousins. We don't actually care about them, honestly. Now, my mom told us another theory. She is too good, bro. All these theories actually make sense. Our dad had moved away from his family home with my mom, and they had worked hard together and bought some lands and properties. When the time comes, it eventually goes to me and Layla. Dad also had some property near our family house, which is now currently under 3 of their names, the family house too. When we compare these 3 families, Dad had bought some lands and properties more than them, and so we will get extra properties compared to their children. So what if we are married off far away so that we'll never come back to look at these properties? The other extended family members who are against the Leon stuff, they're like, what about these matches where they live super far away? Because then they can get the properties.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Everyone is just scheming and scamming over here.
Scheming and scamming. Snakes in the grass. Honestly, it all adds up. The first proposal was actually from far away. 2 hours from our hometown. An isolated rural area with much less transportation. It would be so hard for her to come from there in the future. It was also one of the main reasons we dropped it. By the way, you shouldn't drop us because we got full episodes of stories just like freaking this.
Oh, yeah.
Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio and search a book of story time. But there's a little bit teensy weeny bit. Did you?
Yeah. At first, I was kind of like, I don't know why, but the child in me was like, ooh, like, this feels like a rom-com that I saw as a kid where it's like arranged marriages. I would love to be meeting all these like when I was a kid. I would love to meet all these like eligible suitors.
Like
that,
Mia Thermopolis.
I've never seen that one.
You've never seen Princess Diaries 2?
Oh, yeah. I just don't remember the name.
What?
My man, it's been a while.
Okay.
But, I mean, realistically, I don't know if I would actually be happy with that. But yeah, I feel like at first that's like how I kind of felt, but then I'm like, whoa, this is a mess. But it maybe kind of feels like even more of a rom-com with all these people scamming. This is so sneaky of this family to do.
Why can't they just get it? Nick has 2 sons. He's the type of person who does all the things according to his favor. He insists that during the wedding ceremony, when the groom's family stands with us on the stage, it will look good in front of others. Remember, this man refused to go with my dad and mom when there was a robbery in their rented house 5 hours away, saying he was busy.
Whoa.
No, he wasn't. He was home all day. Amy and John have 2 daughters who are just like me and Layla. Can they not think about how it would feel when it's the same for their daughters? This is the story till now. Maybe some would find it silly, but because of these 3 people, we have been suffering for weeks. There have been fights, quarrels, all because of these 3 people.
Oh, no.
And that's the freaking end of the story, man.
Wow.
Wow, wubsy.
Crazy little
tale they got
drama.
going. Yeah. I mean, you guys don't even have to watch TV. Just watch your family.
Dude, share the wealth.
Share the wealth, man.
Share the suitors.
My former bully is now dating my brother, and he wanted me to forgive her.
Hey, your brother's whack.
I, 35 female Isabel, had to deal with bullying for the majority of my childhood, as I was an easy target for most. Short, thin, braces, glasses, flat-chested, etc. I was also very submissive.
You can't laugh. You can't immediately.
People could say or do a lot to me, and I rarely stood up for myself. I feel that. By the way, this comes from that one crazy chick. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give you some good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We would only tell you what we would do in this situation. But we would love to know what you would do in the comments, as OP said. One of my bullies, who we will call Anna, 36 female, was someone I often saw growing up because we lived in a small town where everyone knows everyone and or is related due to marriage. We are related by marriage. She's technically a distant cousin with no blood relation to me. She never physically bullied me, but would say very cruel things, point out my physical flaws, create embarrassing moments for me whenever possible. Often, her attacks would lead me to tears. Often, her attacks would lead me to tears. She did these things when we were young, 11 to 14, every single time I saw her. Thankfully, because we are distantly related, as I grew up, I saw her less and less. I never forgot what she did, but counted my blessings that I no longer had to see her. About 6 to 8 months ago, I found out that Anna was dating my brother, Mark. Mark likes to keep his dating life private, so he doesn't talk to me about it. I also saw no reason to tell Mark that Anna was a bully to me as a kid because, 1, he, of course, can date whoever he chooses. 2, her being my bully as a kid doesn't really affect their relationship. Now, as an adult, I am no longer an easy target for bullying. I am very vocal about when someone does me wrong, and I will call them out or cut them off as needed. Okay, so on to the part where I may be the a-hole. Here we go. I'm supposed to go on a vacation this coming weekend. A short 3-night cruise. Fun. I had planned originally for me and my cis 40 female, Jess, to go just with us. Then we decided to make it a sibling trip and also invite Mark. Make it a fun way to reconnect as life has taken the 3 of us in different directions. Well, today, when I was doing some onboarding stuff through the cruise line app, to my horror, under my brother's name / reservation was Anna Smith.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Ew.
That was your high school bully.
I am able to see his reservation because I booked in-port excursions for the 3 of us. I immediately reached out to Jess asking if he knew Mark was planning this and why we didn't have any kind of heads up that he was bringing someone. My sis and I are both married. We could have brought our husbands, but the point was to be just us siblings, no one else. Jess asked Mark about it and told him, hey, FYI, Anna used to bully Isabel a lot as a kid, so we will be avoiding you 2 for this trip.
Shut up.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but how old are we now?
Way older. This was like when they were kids.
So it's like
I don't forget though.
you shouldn't
I'd
forget,
be like,
but
ew,
now
no, I
it's
hate
like
her.
now it's just I don't know. It's like you've
grown as an adult.
it doesn't make what she did okay or like not have any weight anymore, but it's like I don't know.
Jess is aware of my history with Anna since I vented to her about it when they first started dating. Mark's reply was basically, it was so long ago, so I needed to get over it. And Anna is not like that anymore. She's changed, grown, and he thinks all of us would really get along. Mark plans to call me soon to discuss this issue, but I honestly see no need as it won't change anything. Our sister Jess thinks that if Anna gives a sincere apology and acknowledges her wrongs, that we can start over. I don't want to start over. I don't believe she has changed at all. Of course, Anna is going to be on her best behavior around Mark because they are dating. I also know from other mutual friends and family members, small town life, that she was still stirring up drama in her early 20s by talking about people making up lies. It only stopped because her parents got wind of it, yelled at her, and forced her to apologize to whoever she wronged. Well, why didn't she come to you? I spoke with that person. Let's call her Jade. Jade stated it was a very fake apology, didn't take any responsibility, basically tried to say that it was lies and someone else has it out for her. I was able to find out from multiple people that she in fact was talking about someone. They witnessed her do this. So to me, this shows that she actually hasn't changed because she obviously was that mean girl even in her early 20s. Could she have grown over the last 10 years and stopped? Maybe, but just because she is sorry doesn't mean I have to accept it, right? Yes, OP, that is correct.
I mean, here's the thing. You can either carry this around for the rest of your life or you can just let it go. Those are your 2 options. You can
Yeah.
let it go and see maybe things could be better.
But also, like, in, like, a pivotal point in, like, your life and, like, having all of these, people surround you, and then there's just, like, this, like, bully of the town who's just like, this girl stinks. Look at her stinky clothes, all this stuff. And it's, like, that, like, sticks with you. No one ever wants to, like, feel like that and whatever.
Yeah.
My brother would like all of us to start fresh and use this vacation to get to know each other. Also, I would like to point out that Mark added Anna at the very last minute. I know this because I check the cruise app weekly since this is my first cruise and I'm very excited to experience it. Oh, cruises are so fun. I never saw her name anywhere in the app until today. It's Wednesday. We leave Friday. Whoa, that is quick. He is currently on a week-long vacation in Hawaii with Anna. Right now? My guess is that the cruise came up in conversation and they thought this was a great opportunity for Anna to meet Jess and I. Where I am probably the a-hole is I am not going to forgive her. I don't want to hear any apologies she makes. I honestly don't care if she has 100% change and now reads to the blind and helps the homeless 24/7. I don't want to see her. I plan on acting like she doesn't exist. I won't talk to her, acknowledge her, and will walk away to find something else to do. I will still talk and joke with my siblings, just not with her. That's so petty. So, would I be the a-hole if I didn't forgive Anna, didn't try to start over and do as I planned and pretend she doesn't exist while on this cruise? And there are some comments.
See,
I
like
feel
now,
like some of those things are a little intense. Like, you can be cordial, but you don't have to like be like buddy. If she's gonna be with you, be within the same like cruise as you, you're gonna have to see her.
Exactly.
Especially if she's dating your brother. But like,
yeah.
you don't have to be like. You can be like, good morning, goodbye, all right, cool, bye. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be like F you or like give her like a stare.
Yeah, it's like even by like not forgiving her, it's like she still has the control. She's still like presiding over the situation because now it needs to be like, oh, well, we're gonna just ignore you, and we're gonna act like you don't exist, and then like that's still all coming through the lens of that person. So like that person's presence is still controlling the way that you behave and act, instead of just being like, hey, I don't care, or like, hey, that happened. What you did was wrong, but that's in the past, and I'm gonna move forward at a baseline of, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got some comments. Comment number 1. Your brother is definitely the a-hole. Why would you make a sibling trip into a +1? And with someone with a bad history with your sibling, you are not obligated to do anything. You will not be the a-hole at all. Keep your distance and have a good time with your sister. And if something organically heals between you and Anna, fine. But it is not required for you to forgive and forget, especially because she has given no indication that she wants to apologize earnestly. OP responds, trying to give Mark some grace as he didn't know about my history with Anna until her sister Jess told him via text. He also says that he got confused and thought adding a +1 was okay since during the holidays we had a celebration for Jess. For that celebration, Jess said Mark could bring Anna. I was aware of this and promised Jess I would be on my best behavior to not ruin the night for her. He thought because Anna was invited to that event, coming on the cruise would also not be an issue. Which is fair if we didn't say multiple times how we, Jess and I, were excited for sibling time on this cruise. Reply. He's lying. There is no reason to hide that he invited someone on the trip unless he knew it would be a problem. After you invited him on the cruise, he should have asked before inviting anyone else, obviously because this was a sibling vacation. He clearly knew this was selfish and rude at a minimum to invite someone and hijack the trip he didn't plan. It's not believable that he thought inviting Anna to a party meant go ahead and invite her on a cruise. That's a transparent lie. He's an inconsiderate, selfish knucklehead. That's even if we assume he didn't know about the bullying, which I suspect he did know about.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Bat. Or what? Who's another detective? I don't want to slander Batman.
I don't know.
Just like it
Sherlock
makes
Holmes?
it's totally fair to think that this guy has no idea his younger sister was being bullied from the ages of 11 to 14 by this other girl.
I don't know. It's a small town. Everyone knows everything, it seems like.
I don't know, man.
You said you grew up and do not take anyone's anymore.
Anyone's dookie.
But here you are taking from your brother.
That's
for some
a
reason.
little poop emoji.
Tell him to cancel the trip for his girlfriend
or else you'll avoid them like the plague and never be able to trust him again. You're being a doormat. See, I think that's extreme. I don't think that she's being a doormat. It's like, what? I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Like, he invited her and probably, like, paid. It's kind of like last minute. It's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you book it last minute, you could probably cancel last minute. I don't know. I don't know how it actually all works, but, like, I don't know. It just seems like everything's just really petty. Oh, there is an edit. To help answer questions and clear up confusion, Mark did not know Anna bullied me when they started dating. He only found out yesterday when Jess told him. I'm estimating their timeline about 6 to 12 months based on what our mom told us in the past. Anna was added to the cruise very last minute. I booked the cruise early last year. Mark joined in December. I regularly checked the app and her name only appeared within the last week. Right before we leave, Mark and Anna are currently vacationing together, so I suspect the cruise came up then. I don't know who decided to add her, but no one asked and gave us a heads up. I technically could cancel / reschedule the cruise, but since it's last minute, we leave tomorrow. I would lose out on all or some of the money I've spent, around $2,000. That is not a small amount to me or anyone else. We've said many times to anyone who asked about the cruise that this was a sibling cruise. I agree that Mark ignored this fact. Anna and I are only distantly related by marriage, no blood relation. She's essentially our aunt-in-law's family. We grew up seeing each other at large family events, which is when the bullying happened. I'm not a pushover anymore. I'm choosing to stay calm and set my boundaries because I love my brother and don't want to blow up their relationship over his girlfriend just yet. And by the way, we would love it if you joined this relationship with all of us here. You can listen to full episodes with stories just like this if you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just search OK Storytime. There's a little bit left. Any final thoughts?
I mean, yeah, you know what? If you're still super butthurt about it, just go on the cruise with her, throw her in the ocean.
I would say, you know what? If I would let your brother know that you're upset, which it seems like you have, because it was supposed to be a sibling thing, and he didn't ask, he just did it. At this point, just hang out with your sister, like get dinner or like a meal with your family, like with everyone, like once in a blue moon on the cruise. But like, just go hang out with your sister. If your brother really effed up, you know, show him like his actions have consequences for it, just inviting his partner, aka your bully, and let him know like, hey, I didn't appreciate that. That wasn't cool. It's supposed to be just a bonding trip between us three, and especially with her bullying me. I know this is brand new to you. I don't really want to spend time with her. You know, I'll be cordial, but I'm not gonna give into that energy.
Yeah, it just seems like you're putting so much energy into this girl and like worrying about it so much. And like, I understand the worrying and everything, like that's completely validated. But also, you know, it's been years and years and years and you're going on this vacation. Yes, it's unfortunate that like, you know, this happened and like nobody really knew about it until last minute and you're going on the cruise now tomorrow. So it's like, what do I do? Like, obviously, just suck it up. We're going to get through it and we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Just go there and be like, you know what? I'm not going to let this girl get me down. Anna, you know, I'm not going to let her get to me. Someone mentioned a theory that Mark and Anna may have gone engaged on this recent Hawaii vacation and or she's pregnant.
Oh,
This is why
sense.
Mark didn't mention him bringing her and was just going to show up at the port with her.
That to
Also
be-
why
yeah.
he's pushing hard for me to forgive and forget and to use this trip as to start fresh.
To be clear, not discussing it all before adding another person to a group trip is weird and not courteous. So, there's that.
I hope this isn't true. Nothing I can do, if it is. Honestly, unsure of how I would react to this news. I know many wanted an update, but nothing has changed since I've posted. Mark is supposed to call me tonight to discuss the situation according to her sister, Jess. We are all supposed to leave tomorrow on the cruise. I will most likely update this after the cruise is over. Thank you to everyone who gave suggestions and advice. It was helpful and will use some of it. And that's it. There is no update on the cruise.
My father tried to ruin my engagement Too bad he failed.
He's just really jealous and he wants to marry your fiance.
My relationship with my parents has never been great. They're extremely self-absorbed and controlling, but thanks to my therapist and my partner, I have grown a lot. I've reached a place where our relationship is manageable, mainly because I refuse to let them disrupt my peace, especially not tomorrow. By the way, this comes from user illrelationship 9673, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we are here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we do, so if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. Tomorrow is a big day. My partner and I are meeting with a jeweler who's going to design my engagement ring from scratch. I'm over the moon. This is such a happy, once-in-a-lifetime moment for me, and I've shared it with my mom, my siblings, and a few close friends. Everyone seemed excited except my dad. Apparently, he's upset that my partner hasn't asked for my hand in marriage yet. For the record, I didn't even want my partner to ask. My family has always made me feel awful, and this tradition doesn't hold the same weight for me. But my partner believes it's the right thing to do as a man, and he's been planning to ask. So why hasn't it happened yet? Simple. Money. This summer has hit us hard. Unexpected cuts in work hours, financial aid delays, housing stress. It's been overwhelming. We live 8 hours away, and my dad is constantly on his boat. So planning a trip has not been easy. The stress has taken a toll, especially on my partner. So I told him before we start impending doom, let's find out how much the ring will cost. Knowing the number would help us plan, relieve some of the financial pressure, and give us a clear idea of what we're working with for the ring, the proposal, and the trip to my family. We agreed whatever's left over will go to the trip to see my family, then worry about the proposal after asking for my hand. The jeweler was super kind and said he could work with my partner's budget, but he also said that to give an exact price, he needs to meet me. He wants to see my reactions to styles, understand what makes me feel special, and craft something truly personal. So we made the appointment for tomorrow. I was talking to my parents about what outfit to wear when my mom hit me with, "Your father feels hurt he hasn't been asked for your hand." And I got pissed. I said, how the heck is he supposed to afford coming down there when he doesn't even know how much the ring will cost? She said, well, he should have figured it out. And I said, well, this is supposed to be a happy moment, and it feels like you're trying to ruin it. She replied, we're not ruining it. Your father just feels disrespected. And I said, clearly, if my father feels hurt, that's fine. He's allowed to have feelings, but I will not sit here and let anyone paint my partner as disrespectful when he's doing everything in his power to honor me and our future. He's working, saving, and doing his best, and considering I'm your oldest daughter getting married, there should be nothing but love and support. I'm not playing tick for tat for childish games. Again, not the freaking saying. It's tit for tat.
No, this OP's playing tic-tac-toe, I think.
My mom quickly changed the subject because she knew the road I was heading on and definitely didn't want to be on it. But I called my dad because I figured if I explained the story, he might understand. Well, yeah, I was wrong. I apologized and told him I was sorry if things didn't feel traditional. I explained everything, our finances, the distance, and that my partner has every intention of asking, just not yet. That's when my dad launched into a full-on lecture. He said, there are certain things a man is supposed to do before you even look at rings. He should come to me, sit down, and ask for your hand like a man. That's how it's done. I need to know that your partner understands. I don't play about my child. He said it like he was giving some kind of speech, and all I could think of was, you don't play about your child? Where was that energy when I needed support growing up? When I needed someone to advocate for me? When I needed a father to protect me? Because I definitely didn't see it. But now, because a tradition makes him feel important, suddenly he's deeply invested. Still, I stayed calm. I said, yes. And he still plans to ask. He's not ignoring you. He just wants to make sure we can afford everything. He's doing his best. Then I asked, do you honestly feel like this whole experience has been tainted? And he said, yes, I do. I'm not even supposed to know all this. I should be surprised.
He should be surprised.
He should come down here, sit me down, and do it the right way. At that point, I said, okay, Dad. Sorry, love you. And I hung up. Because let's be real. He's not mad because my partner did anything wrong. He's mad because he didn't get his moment. He didn't get to play the role he imagined. He didn't get control. but my partner is working hard every single day to build our future, and that's what actually matters. So no, I'm not letting my father dim this moment. Not this time. This engagement is about me and my partner, not anyone else. And yes, I'm still going to my appointment. Whether my father approves or not is his problem, not mine. And there is an edit to clear things up. When I said I didn't even want my partner to ask my dad, I was referring to how I felt in the beginning. I didn't want my life or wedding delayed if my dad said no over something petty, like what happened yesterday. My partner is marrying me, not my father. He made it clear that whether my father says yes or no does not matter. We will be married regardless. It just determines whether my father will be there or not. That said, my partner asking is fine now because my father being in my life or not will be entirely his choice. Also, I didn't apologize to do what daddy says or play in his hand. I thought my dad misunderstood the situation and just wanted to clear it up. I thought he assumed we were buying a ring and getting engaged and not designing it. The moment I realized he didn't, I ended the call. Please stop making assumptions about me or my partner. He is my life and has given me everything I ever dreamed of. So I will not tolerate anyone tearing down my future fiancé. My partner and my therapist all had a hand in creating the boundaries and the beautiful woman I am today. If you can't see that through this post, too bad. Any advice? I'm just a few months away from being a fiancé. I'm so excited. This process definitely didn't go how either of us thought it would, but I'm so thankful that I have him by my side. This month and semester have been so tough on both of us. Little did either of us know how much drama and ugly personalities engagements and weddings bring out in people. It's been heartbreaking. My parents have just been so awful from start to finish, and we're not even engaged yet. First, my mother was pissed that I wanted to have a wedding abroad because the whole family should be there, including people I haven't talked to in 15 years. Then my dad said his experience was tainted because my future fiancé had a conversation with me about being ready for marriage before asking for his blessing, as if this person is the one getting married, not me. Then, of course, there was the engagement dinner. My God, don't get me started on the engagement dinner. I completely understand it's weird to plan it before being engaged, but unfortunately, with my parents' jobs, you have to plan months in advance or they can't do it at all. All I did was ask my parents to combine our families for one holiday. One holiday! Well, my parents outright refused, and the reason is I wouldn't apologize for missing my mother's extravagant birthday that I literally couldn't afford. That's a whole other story, though. Then, as if they couldn't cause more problems, my man drove 8 hours, got a hotel room, planned months in advance, only for my father to refuse to give him his blessing.
That's why my only thing was like, sure, maybe you could have given him a heads up and been like, hey, can't make it out to see ya. We're gonna start designing this thing, but
Yeah.
I will be coming to talk. I know we gotta talk.
My father asked completely stupid and irrelevant questions that had nothing to do with our relationship. I won't go into the full spiel, but I'll say my father had the gall to ask my partner, if my daughter asks you to lie to me, would you? My partner said, well, I'm going to stand by my wife, so yeah, I would. And my father called him deceitful. I was appalled. My partner and I have never been so infuriated in our lives. He wasted our time and money over a blessing he was crying about in the first place. While I'm heartbroken that my siblings won't be involved as much as I'd like since they're minors, I still have a lot to be thankful for. Luckily for me, I hate being embarrassed, especially by elders in the family. My great aunt, who is my absolute heart, ripped them a new one. When my mother tried to cry to her about how disrespectful my man was, my aunt asked what question my dad had asked. When my mom told her, she said, what kind of question is that? Of course that was going to be his answer. I don't know a single adult who would have answered differently. My mom also tried to double down and say my aunt wasn't being fair. And my aunt responded, what do you mean? That is fair. You had that man go all the way down there only to set him up with BS questions. In fact, where is your husband? I want to speak to your husband. Pause. If you don't know, if an elder asks to speak to you and then uses your childhood nickname, you are now in danger. Because that means they plan on putting you in a child's place. My mom was so stunned, she made up an excuse and quickly hung up. It was glorious. It got even better because since things went so terribly with my great aunt, I haven't heard a peep from any of my family. My parents got checked so badly they had been too embarrassed to tell anyone else. Also, thankfully, where I lack in biological parents, I've gained 2 incredible in-laws who mean the world to me. They cheer for me so loudly that I don't even notice who's missing in the stands. And by the way, you don't have to miss a single episode full of stories just like this. If you go to your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, just search OK Storytime. After everything my parents did, I didn't get the old, but they're your only parents, or maybe you're misunderstanding them. Instead, they sent a long message saying how much they love both of us and how proud they are of me. They told me not to worry about my parents because they already see me as their daughter that they never had. They even said they would foot the bill for our entire wedding, and I just couldn't be happier with my future and my new family. So while I'm sad about some parts and it's been tough, I know our future is bright, and that is the end of that story.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be too worried about your dad. I think they've been put so in their place that they're just going to quietly attend to this wedding now.
I'm leaving everything to my dogs after I pass away.
They're going to be rich dogs.
I, 59 female, never had children, never wanted them, but my whole family is very Catholic, so naturally I have tons of nieces and nephews. I've always been content with my role as the cool aunt who buys them the best presents at Christmas and their birthdays. Not to brag, but I make significantly more money than the rest of my family. So all the consoles and shared tablets and laptops, etc., were always gifted by me. I didn't mind it at all. I love my nieces and nephews and enjoyed spoiling them. Nowadays, I buy the cool stuff for their kids. By the way, this comes from Pities Our Family, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Brittany.
And I'm Keon. And Brittany, our special guest today, is a certified financial planner, speaker, and former RIA founder who has guided thousands of people on their financial journeys. After building and selling her firm, Financially Wise Inc., she now focuses on empowering others through speaking, consulting, and brand partnerships. You may have seen her featured by top platforms like CNN and The Wall Street Journal and more, or working with brands like Chase, E-Trade, Mint, Airbnb, and Zoom to make financial literacy simple, accessible, and inspiring. Thank you, Brittany, for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us, well, I'm sure OP's going to be happy to hear some advice from you on this story.
Yes.
And OP says, I sold my practice about 7 years ago to retire and bought a huge piece of land in order to start a pit bull rescue. Love that. I absolutely love pit bulls and choose to rescue them because of how misunderstood they are, which unfortunately makes them a difficult breed to rehome. And I love running my dog kennel. I even have 2 awesome neighborhood kids I pay to help me clean up after them. Not to mention the trainer that comes by every week to work with them. But here's where it gets sticky. Recently, I sat down to start writing my will, and I realized that when I pass away, there won't be anyone to take care of my dogs. And I have 14 of them right now, at least 5 of which are probably never going to find homes because I rescue them from really bad situations. It takes a special expertise to handle them. I spoke with a lawyer, and we drew up a will ensuring that when I pass away, all of my assets will be sold to go to making sure my dogs are taken care of, and anything left over from that will go to my local humane society where I volunteer. I finished all the paperwork about a week ago, and last night I decided to confide to my sister, who is honestly my closest friend. She had my back when I became an atheist, always defended my decision to be child-free to our more overbearing family members, about the will, and to my surprise, she completely flipped out. She said she couldn't believe I would prioritize a bunch of dogs over my nieces and nephews, and how they would all feel betrayed. She listed off everyone's financial struggles, saying it was insane for me not even to leave at least 10 to 20K for my family members when the value of my estate is in the millions. True. And I just told her that I'm sorry, but their financial struggles are not my fault, nor my responsibility. If my great nieces and nephews have to take out student loans, so be it. I had to pay for my own law school. I feel bad because I know how cold it sounds, but my sister was really laying into me. We haven't talked since, but my phone is steadily blowing up as the news gets around to my family. Some of them are staying out of it, but some are being pretty vitriolic towards me. Am I the a-hole? Oh, right. Okay. And that's actually the end of that story. That's where it ends.
Harsh ending.
Yeah. It's, am I the a-hole for leaving all of my money to my dogs?
You know, these pet trusts and
Yeah.
pet wills are becoming so popular.
I think it's after Aristocats, everyone got on the trend.
could be.
Yeah.
I remember going like, this was like maybe 10 years ago when I was still like really running my practice and everything, to a CE credit course, and it was all about estate planning, leaving money to animals. And
Yeah.
it was a real thing. And I remember being so shocked by that. And now it's even more popular. And I think Diane Keaton just in the news left $5 million to her dog Reggie. And so
$5 million?
that was like the first time, maybe I just haven't paid attention, but it was the first time I felt like it was a public celebrity
Yeah.
news about a pet trust.
I just don't if you could explain, because I don't understand what that $5 million is
Exactly.
going towards.
Me too. I was curious, and I actually consulted with my estate planning attorney friend
Yeah.
because I'm a CFP, but we don't do trusts and wills. So I was like, how does this work? Like, really? Obviously, a pet, Reggie, can't
Yeah.
use $5 million.
No.
Like, there's no way Reggie's
Over the
gonna
course
use-
of, maybe 10 more.
And I don't know how old this dog was
Yeah.
in particular, but dog lifespan
5 to 10
7
years.
to
Yeah.
15 years
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Well, probably. I'm just saying this dog probably has
Oh
5
yeah,
to 10 years
5 years
left.
more.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I was like the typical LA girl.
Yeah.
Could the dog request a G-Wagon? Is that okay?
The dog needs a MacBook Air.
The dog needs a big house with
Yes.
a big backyard. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I was curious, like, what technically flies. So the way that they're written, it's like for the dog's obviously food and
Yes,
care
medical,
and vet
yeah.
bills. But like beyond that, I was curious, like, how do you get this approved? And like with a trust, you get the trustee. So they're the ones who have to do like the accounting.
Yeah.
Usually she said in this situation, it's a bank. So there's financial
Okay.
regulations and
And then
like it would be
presumably-
really hard for
yeah.
someone at the bank to like approve. Yeah, Sophia,
Yeah.
you're the caregiver of this dog, Reggie.
Yeah.
I hear your request of a G-Wagon and it's approved. Like that wouldn't, it would be them on the line. So it would be very unlikely.
Yes.
And then ultimately the money just goes to the
Whoever's
estate.
taking-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like if the dog passes or whoever the pet is, if it
Yeah.
passes.
It goes
I mean,
back
in this
into it.
case, it's interesting because she had 14
She's
dogs.
14. Yeah.
So, I mean, technically that could
Yeah.
be a while.
Yeah, well, I feel like, if I were this person, I would probably put it into the organization.
I
Because
see.
she says she wants to rehome.
Right, like the
pit bulls.
rehab or- yeah.
So I feel like if you wanted longevity to,
I don't think she's
find
an
someone.
a-hole.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're her kids. They're her
No.
nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And I liked her point. If they want to go to school, take a student loan.
Yeah.
That's what she did.
yeah.
And
It seems also like she's been giving them a lot of gifts over the years. So, yeah.
we don't think you're an a-hole.
I mean, I like the point where it's like it's my money.
Yeah.
My
I,
money.
I can do whatever I
Literally-
want with my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what I've seen? No matter what you do, someone's going to be mad.
Exactly.
Like I was just thinking, if she did say $10,000 or whatever the number was to each one of them, they would probably still think like, but why wasn't it more? Or like
Yeah.
this, So there's
There
always
would've
going to
been
be
complaints.
something.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Did she say she was giving all of the money?
I think so. I think it was all of
That
the
is-
money. She was
that
leaving
is-
it all for the
wow.
dogs and the rehab that she wants to build,
Yeah. So that's millions of dollars to this rehab.
which,
That is her right. Yeah.
I'm happy for the pit bulls. They do have a
Yeah.
bad reputation.
They have a really it's really tough for pit bulls. it's really tough.
life.
It is very tough
Uh,
because they can be so sweet. But there is a second story that we have, so we're gonna get into that one. We're preparing for the worst, so we're giving our dog a trust fund.
who let the dogs out?
Who?
Me and my wife are child free. We have decided to get the finances and administration in order in the event of the unexpected. The first thing raised was the welfare of our 3-year-old Labrador. By the way, this comes from Jigsaw153, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia,
I'm Brittany Castro.
And I'm Keon.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. But today, we do have an expert. And OP says, my last will was 5 years ago before owning a dog. We have talked about what ifs and decided the best way forward was to prepare a trust fund for the dog in the event we are both taken out at once. Ooh, car accident, etc. We have vowed to pay for her food, vets, and other costs for the rest of her expected life. Even in passing, I will pay for her. The trust fund is to be based on forecast average lifespan. All in all, the dog gets $150,000 and is the number one instruction in our wills. Any residual money returns to the estate after the fact. My family balked at the caveat and were shocked what I have placed in the will. My dog must have a quality of life equal or greater than the one she has now. Secondly, family members are not exclusively to be selected. If they do not meet the set criteria, it has been decided to bring a charity in to select the best home to our needs and our wants, even if it's a complete stranger. I'd say we are the most well off in our family, being double income, no kids. And in short, the family are shocked that we have decided to give so much to our dog. Wait until they find out half of them are already on the blacklist based on how they treat their own pets. I submitted this not to vent, but to make sure all here consider and prepare a world for the fur babies in the event you are taken away from them. As she has her head resting on my knee, you reflect and realize that we are their entire universe. Some people do not deserve this much loyalty. At the very least, I can provide some back to her. What do you guys think? And I think that you guys should listen to more full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But we have some comments, but I want to hear your comments. I know it's a similar story.
Similar.
Yeah.
I think it was 150. She said 150. I mean, I still have the question of 150,000. Where I'm always curious. Like, did they sit at a table and like look at the budget and say like
this dog is
Woofy wants like X amount? Because I have a dog and there's no way I've spent 150,000 in her lifetime.
Yeah.
Let alone 1 year, 2 years. So.
I mean, I guess, like unless you had a bunch of vet bills and food, I just don't,
I mean, even like then, that's like over 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it's a number, it's arbitrary. They can decide whatever they want, but I'm just curious, like, how they come up with the number.
But I guess I feel like if you were trying to talk to your family and make them understand, you could just say, we're overextending the number, or just kind of being very cautious, but it will go back into the estate if we don't, end up using
I
that
see a
much.
comment that says Brittany doesn't put her dog in Gucci.
Yeah, the quality of life of your dog is not good.
No. But, we do live in LA, so I would say we're very bougie with our dogs here. If this is a city that loves dogs, it's this one.
Oh, yeah. My parents feed my dog. We get like raw chicken with like.
Do they
cut
home
up
cook it every night?
Well, it's not cooked. It's like, but
it's raw food.
Yeah, it's like, well, they'll freeze it too. But literally, it's like chopped up carrots and rice and a whole,
I'm a dog. I come from a dog family. My grandmother would cook a stew every night for her 2 dogs.
Dang.
No, it was intense. And back then, it just seemed kind of normal, kind of crazy. But if I were to think about me doing that every night for my dog,
I don't even do that for myself.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's a different time.
How long did that dog live?
I think it was a Schnauzer, and I forget what the other dog was. But they lived a while. I mean, they have a good long lifespan anyway, like 14 years.
That's really impressive. But we have some comments. Comment 1 says, "This is wise, but please consider talking to someone you trust and that would take care of the dog."
Yeah, they have caregivers. So you name a caregiver in the trust or will, in addition to the trustee, which is the one who manages the funds.
Yeah, which is I think what they said, that they would go through a person who would
vetted. Not blacklist.
You have it's like 3 people that are still left on this list. I know of a similar situation where a dog has been left to someone and the money is taken care of out of an estate. They view the dog as a check, and the dog would frankly have been better going to someone who would have had the knowledge and training. He has bitten the new owner multiple times, and others. So please arrange for your dog of the time to go to a specific person who will care for and know how to live with the animal. Otherwise, you are wise to consider the charity option. NOP says, "Thanks for the insight and experience. We will create a list of preferred people. We have devised a mechanism that means that the person must meet all criteria or the dog is removed." Comment 2 says, "Please do not name a family member. Name a charity or specific animal rescue. I have personally seen a family member take a dog to get the inheritance, and then 6 months later, they put the dog down. I feel like that would be illegal."
Oh, that... Okay, yeah, that's crazy.
I feel like that has to be illegal.
that seems illegal.
Yeah. I've also seen a family member really try to take care of a dog, but it just did not get along with her own dog. She ended up using the rescue I work with to rehome the dog, but a less informed person might just take them to the shelter or worse, rehome them on Craigslist. And we all know the horror stories of dog fighters looking for bait dogs on there. The truth is, once your assets are distributed, there is no follow-up. Not unless you're a millionaire with an estate management lawyer who your estate will continue to pay to do checkups on the dog, which is so expensive. Well, they got $150,000 in there. You cannot trust family when it comes to money and your pets. I feel like you have a really bad experience with your family.
Oh my gosh.
I would trust my family with my pets.
I would trust my family.
Yeah. Even a fellow animal lover. What if your dog doesn't get along with their dog? Suddenly they rehome your dog and who knows what environment they're going to. And that's the end of that story.
My boyfriend's group said I was no longer invited because I played too well.
Too good at it.
So, I've been playing D&D for about 2 years and have had a long string of player characters that have passed away during the campaign. I think the count is at 6 or 7. I genuinely try not to just put my characters in dangerous situations, but I often feel like the rolls just don't go my way. By the way, this comes from user Ecstatic Guard 1154, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon,
I'm Carly.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. And let us know what you do in the comments. This koala thinks he knows what he'd do. As Opie says, the first character was a barbarian, and I was going reckless for every attack, and then the bad guy got some good rolls and just crit me a few times in a row. Then they finished me off during passing saves. Then another one I decided to try to be a bard. Got silenced and immobilized. Then some generic low-level guys just came and beat me up, and I was not able to fight back at all. This one was actually a little funny at how useless I was. In any case, I know I'm not very good and will often try to strategize, and my group mates always seem to be on board, and then the plans just don't pan out at all. I play for fun and don't particularly mind being bad, but my friends have been getting progressively more upset at me and even saying things like I'm an a-hole for always passing away and wasting their time. I will genuinely never try to go recklessly into a situation, but it feels like no matter what I do, all the aggression gets focused on me, and then I get overwhelmed. I have started asking them if I should just leave the group and let them do their own thing. This would be sad for me because this was a group of close friends and I thought we were having a good time. It's only been in the last 3 to 4 months that they've started becoming more angry towards me, and I genuinely don't know why. In any case, all input would be appreciated, and there may be a perspective I'm not considering, but am I an a-hole for being bad at D&D? We have some comments. No.
No.
What?
That's the craziest thing to be like, you can't play with us.
You're not an a-hole. And I don't. If you were trying to be, the one time you would be an a-hole if you weren't really into the game. Like if you weren't.
Yeah, if they're just offing you because you're like so bored and being annoying.
Yeah, if you're not trying to like play, like be into the character, which I know a lot of people are like, it's kind of weird. That's one thing, but the fact that you're playing the game, it seems like you genuinely enjoy it and like are interested in playing the game. Sure, you may do like some reckless things, like run in there, but like that's part of the game. This is literally the game, and they're upset at you for playing the game.
Crazy.
Some of OP's comments are, and there's some info from OP. How old are you and other people involved, including the DM, the Dungeon Master? OP says, apologies. New to posting on Reddit, I am 28 male, and my friends are 25 male, 31 male, 27 female, and 33 female. The Dungeon Master is 32 female, and she says she is trying to stay out of it. And then more info. Have you talked to your DM specifically about why your characters pass away so frequently? It's really common for players to have a few PCs that pass away. It happens. Heck, there are even campaigns where the DM will tell players upfront to make additional characters because there is a chance of your character passing. But 6 to 7 characters passing away is a lot, especially if other Ds are not passing away. Also, have you tried playing single-player D&D influenced games like Baldur's Gate 3? While it's not a complete matchup, BG3, or Baldur's Gate 3, helped me understand battle mechanics and character builds much better. OP responds with, I have tried to get some advice from my DM, and her response is usually like, get good? I do feel like the odd man out because no one else has passed away more than once. I think the first two were my fault because I rushed in, but I can definitely understand why that would be frustrating for everyone else. At the time, I just thought that was my role as the tank. After that, I tried focusing on my support characters. My bard character was in the back for most of the fights and focuses on buffing everyone. My friends used to laugh with me, but then it felt like there was all this resentment towards me. They think I'm trying to make it all about me because every new character needs a proper intro. Personally, I would love to have a backstory play out over time, and it just never pans out. I have played Baldur's Gate 3, and I beat the game on Tactician, but definitely not Honor Mode. I just figured the tabletop version had nuances the video game doesn't. Commenter says, not the a-hole. D&D is about having fun with friends. At no point has any group that I have been a part of has ever been upset that someone's character passed away. I would be upset if characters passed away from the story. Like, that
Not
sucks.
because they're
Not because of
characters,
that.
though.
But I'd be like,
You'd just be sad for them.
I'm like, dang, that does suck because you put so much time and effort into your character building. There are 3 explanations I can see for this. 1, your friends are jerks. 2, there is something left out of the story above. You are taking forever to make decisions, or you require 100% of the DM's time while you make a new character, which stops the game, or some other social thing that is causing for the game to be unfun for the entire group. Or 3, this is fake/AI, which I don't believe. Opie responds with, they never used to get upset, and it felt like about 3 to 4 months was complete about face. I try to be quicker with decision making, but these days I get more anxiety with each of my turns because I don't want to be wrong. My friends all have been playing for 10 plus years, and I was a new addition. I apologize, I should have mentioned that above, but was having a hard time being succinct. Top commenter says, not the a-hole. This sounds like a DM issue as much as anything else. Like I said, a DM shouldn't be unaliving off players so easily. My DM, even when things get dicey, they're always trying to throw ways to get out of it. That's what makes a good DM. Also, your teammates should have been trying to help you. It's a team game. Opie says, there have been a number of times where I felt like I could have done with healing or protection when someone else got this instead. But I really don't want to just be the source of negativity when playing a game for fun. So I just let it go.
I was going to say, I think I would just play my next character so incredibly safe. Like, all protection I'd use on myself. Any healing I'd use on myself. Like, I would just see if there was some crazy way where my character still passes really quickly, even though I've done, like, only self-preservation things.
Your friends would try and walk you through it. There was one time I did have a campaign, where one of the guys was new to it, but he did take very long, and he was just like, oh, I didn't know what to do. And that's the thing, when you're finish your turn, you kind of like think of what you're gonna be doing next. So I don't know. I would told him like, hey, like that was your first time playing. I totally get it.
You
Have
get
any
quicker with
questions?
that, though.
But you get quick with it. But I was like, when you're done with your turn, you start thinking what you want to do your next turn. I know you have to read a lot, but like look at like the key notes or make notes for your character, what you like and what you don't like. That helps a lot. In regards of talking to the DM of this campaign, I haven't spoken to her about her potentially doing more to help me out, but I have asked about what I could be doing to improve, especially after the others started telling me how annoying I am to play with. If everyone's telling you you're annoying to play with, I would be really upset. I would be like, I don't want to play with you guys
anymore. Look
anymore.
back at yourself and say, am I annoying to play with?
No, I'm fun. No, I'm fun. 'Cause
No confidence issues here, guys.
I do crazy things. Do I do the same thing and am I absurd? Yes. Is it part of my character's backstory? Also, yes. Did you invite me to play this campaign with you and you didn't expect anything less? That's your fault. I did ask if I should let them just play without me, but then they tell me I'm being an a-hole for trying to make them feel bad. Pick a lane, friends. I have tried to approach it really calmly and with understanding that it can be frustrating to play with someone who isn't on their level, as they've put it. OP is voted not the a-hole, and there is an update. Thank you everyone for your insights and support. I decided a few hours ago to reach out to the DM and just let her know I'm going to find a new group or just separate myself from this one. After a long conversation, it came out that actually this group was in fact doing this on purpose, and the DM was in on it.
Shocker.
Shocked.
This is exactly, like, there was obviously no other way.
I calls it as I sees it, but also
Yeah.
it's like
That was so obvious.
pretty common.
Yeah.
She ultimately told me because she says she felt guilty that it went so far. But this explains her lack of insight or help, I guess. Apparently, this group had trouble getting through fights/encounters, and the DM got frustrated that this was interfering with her storytelling. Then, when I came around, they found that having all the enemy attention on the new guy allowed the real players to explore their stories and encounters without having to retreat all the time. And speaking of all the time, we have full episodes with stories just like this all the time. How much time? Like,
3 months.
yeah.
And counting.
So, go to your favorite podcast apps such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime. Do it.
Do it.
There's a little bit left. I mean, called it.
Yeah, there was no way that's not what was happening. That's really crappy though. Find a new group and then like if you can go in with a totally fresh mindset.
Yeah.
And like actually play with like a real freaking group, do that.
No, they suck. No,
Yeah.
that
It shouldn't be like that, and I'm sure your next group wouldn't be like that.
So, if anyone out there is playing D&D and you are feeling like you're targeted or your character is getting
If you're this
offed
guy.
a lot, which should not be happening in the first place, there's definitely a reason. Honestly, it seemed like some convoluted logic to me, and I'm assuming they started expressing their anger towards me as a way of keeping me useless via insecurity of my experience and decisions. This inevitably made me feel like it was my fault, and then when my own decisions stopped unaliving me, they would allow my character to gradually pass away off by not equitably distributing help. In any case, I'm definitely out of this group, and they definitely are not my friends. This has made me really confused because I just don't really understand why they had to go about this in such a hurtful way. But I appreciate everyone for helping me get the courage to talk to them and push hard enough to actually get some truth. And that is the end of that story.
Well.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't you. Just a bunch of crappy people that we don't need anymore.
My friend wouldn't stop cooking for everyone, and it's horrible.
Nobody wants to tell her that she's bad at cooking.
About 6 months ago, I, 30 female, moved across the country to a new state where I have a lot of friends and family. I posted about my move on Facebook, and Michael, 32 male, a Facebook friend, which an acquaintance I had met once or twice through other friends, reached out to tell me he happened to be moving to the same city. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway, a bunch of numbers, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily. But we don't know everything. We only know what we would do. So tell us what you would do in the comments. He asked if I would want to get together sometime. I agreed, and after we had both moved and settled, we met up. We became friendly and started hanging out semi-regularly. I have a lot of friends and family in this state, as I mentioned. Work also keeps me very busy, so I don't have a ton of free time. Michael moved here because he recently got a divorce. He has an old friend in his 30s, male, who owns a house here, who agreed to rent him a room. They also have a third roommate, also in his 30s. Michael does not have a job, so he has a lot of free time, and he is usually the one to initiate hangouts. So Michael loves to cook. The very first time we got together, he came to my place and cooked dinner. The meal was okay, although it was dairy-based, and I really don't eat dairy at all, so I felt pretty sick afterwards. I was also very specific about a certain ingredient that I don't really like, but he was insistent that he needed to use it for the dish. Whatever, no biggie. However, as time went on, every time Michael would invite me to hang out, he wanted to cook. Either he wanted to come to my place and cook, or he wanted me to come over and he would cook for me and the roommates and their significant others. Each time I ate Michael's cooking, I began to think more and more that I really just could not stand it. The first time he cooked for me and his roommates, I noticed that everyone at the table was silent when eating, and no one else commented on the food until he would eagerly ask, "How is it?" and get some sort of lackluster praise. He did this at least 3 times during the meal. The worst time, probably, was the time no one could finish their plate, and everyone made excuses for why they were just so full they couldn't finish the meal. After that incident, whenever Michael would invite me to hang out, I would try suggesting other activities. We live in a place that is full of fun, socially distanced outdoor activities, so I would frequently suggest those things. He would always decline and try to convince me to come to his place so that he could cook for us. He's told me that the thing that brings him the greatest joy is cooking for other people. Due to this, I kind of started to distance myself and just politely decline his invitations. Last night, I got a message from Michael that he had a huge falling out with his roommate, and he was very upset. I texted him for a while trying to calm him down and give him some advice about how to handle the situation. He was so upset that eventually I asked if he wanted to come over for a little brewski so he could get out of the house and clear his head. He asked if I had already eaten, and I said that I had. It was almost 8 by that point, and he asked if he could come over tomorrow, which is today. Instead, I said sure. He replied with, "Great, I'll stop at the store and cook a dish for us." I told him, "Actually, I'm on a diet, and I couldn't eat that." But he was welcome to come over, for drinks and some video games. He just kept pushing, asking about my diet and what I could eat, and finally suggested something that I would have no reason to say no to. This morning when I woke up, I was so dreading his meal that I texted him I forgot I had made plans this evening. I told him I'd be home around 8, which is too late for dinner, and he was still welcome to come over then, or we could try for another night. I don't really know what to do about this guy. I feel bad because he hardly knows anyone here, and now it looks like he's on bad terms with his roommates, and I know he probably really needs a friend right now. But he's so insistent on feeding me every single time we get together. I think if I tell him I can't stand his cooking, it will honestly be more hurtful than just fading out of his life. After posting and thinking about things, I realized that it wasn't just about the cooking. Ooh. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but I really don't care to be friends with Michael anymore. He never wanted to do anything I suggested, and that really bothered me. It felt like our entire friendship was just about me making time to do what he enjoyed, which was cooking for us, even though I got nothing out of it at all. After that, I started to distance myself from Michael. I would put hours between answering his texts and politely decline any invites. I was also in an accident a few weeks ago, and I'm now on a medication that makes me very tired, so I have limited free time. Then one night, around midnight, I got a text from Michael saying that he was worried about me. When I asked why, he replied that "You used to be my best friend, but now you just ignore me."
That's a red flag in a friend, I would say.
That physically hurt to read out loud. I'm OP's mom. OP's disappeared. No one knows where they are, and we'll probably never find them. Please don't text this number ever again.
Right.
There were a bunch of typos, so I could tell he had been drinking. I told him I had been busy and also pointed out that I had actually invited him to do a lot of things with me, but he always turned down my invites. He acknowledged that was true, apologized, and said that in the future, if I asked him to do things I enjoy, he'd be sure to accept. 3 days later, he messaged me again, asking when I was free to hang out. I replied with, "What do you have in mind?" I wanted to hear what he wanted to do before committing to hanging out. He kept pushing, just saying he'd like to see me and he'd be available anytime I was free. I finally gave him a time frame, to which he replied he'd love to come over and cook for us. So that was just the final straw. So I sent him the following message. "Hey, so to be honest, you're a nice person, but I'm not interested in hanging out tonight. Or at all. The time that we have spent together has made me realize we don't actually have much in common, and when you weren't into any of the stuff I enjoy doing, I lost interest in the friendship. Combined with the fact that I still have so much pain from my accident, it just seems like too much effort. No hard feelings. I really do wish you the best." And I blocked him after that.
Wow.
Dude, it was just the cooking.
No,
you
but it's
convinced
like-
yourself it was just the cooking.
Now, I see this as totally fair. I think you're blocking him just for your own peace of mind, because you don't want to, like, there's no argument here. You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like there's any real reason to connect or be friends, because we're just not really aligned. And also, I have an injury and I don't even have the bandwidth to make or develop or maintain a friendship with someone like you. Maybe it was bad the way I handled the situation, but life feels too short to waste so much time doing what other people want. I never advocate for myself and always end up in these types of draining, one-sided friendships. So I feel proud of what I said and relieved to be moving past the situation. Edit. There are a lot of people defending Michael and calling me a horrible person. In my last post, I mentioned that he had a falling out with his roommates. They actually asked him to move out because he was being so disrespectful and aloof. I didn't include this information in my post because I didn't want to be unfairly harsh. Now I see the way I described Michael made people sympathize with him, and that's honestly given me more food for thought than anything. I couldn't even describe how awful he was to a bunch of internet strangers without feeling bad. A lot of people are also just making blind assumptions about him, and every single one is so far from reality. I guess we should all take Reddit posts with a grain of salt. And we've got some comments here. You're a chica says, "I totally understand why this happened. Unfortunately, Michael probably thinks he's trying hard to be social and puts effort into his friendships, so he just can't understand why he doesn't get the same effort back. He's probably lonely, and you can find a lot of lonely people complaining about this. But he's awkward and has a hard time reading or understanding your cues, or I dare say caring about your cues and messages about what you do and don't want to do. It's hard to be friends with someone like that, and to be honest, Michael probably doesn't have a lot of friends. OP replies, very insightful. I mentioned at the end of my post that I end up in a lot of friendships like this. I have sympathy for people like this, and I usually endure the friendship because I feel for them. But honestly, I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm just over being that nice person. Friendship needs to go both ways, and I'm tired of giving so much time to people who I get no enjoyment from being with. Recycled Air says, I wanted to hear what he wanted to do before committing to hanging out. He kept pushing, just saying he'd like to see me and he'd be available anytime I was free. This commenter says, he was trying to act on your previous feedback and wanted you to suggest something you wanted to do before he suggested anything. You forced his hand by pushing him to suggest something and blew up at him when he offered the one thing he thought he was good at that would help you out, which you've never once told him you didn't enjoy but continue to do. I will back you up on that last point of like, you did always say that his cooking was good, so why would he think that it would be bad? Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. If you really don't want him to cook for you, you gotta tell him. Like,
You gotta be like, Michael, you're bad at cooking. You're cooking, I don't like it.
right.
I'm sorry it's gotten to this point that I had to say that to you.
Yeah.
I don't like your cooking, Michael.
But there's ways to improve. It's all right. It's all
Yeah.
right, Michael.
OP replies, I didn't want to put seemingly unnecessary detail in my post. I have invited Michael to go hiking at least 4 times. I have also invited him to go ice skating, snow tubing, skiing, driving in the mountains, and even on a weekend trip to a nearby state. He has declined every single invite, instead asking me to come over and try his cooking or watch TV. Edit to add, I even offered to pay for him on the activities that were expensive, even though he doesn't need me to, as an incentive to get him to join. Accomplished Bison replies, those are all super physical activities and he sounds like more of a homebody if he likes cooking and watching TV. I agree, you probably weren't compatible as friends, but ghosting him, re-engaging with him, and then about-facing and sending a Dear John all sounds a bit much. Tattletale91 says, I mean, I like to cook, but I am good at it, and watch TV. And I would never want to do any of those activities. Not even if someone else paid. Not even if someone paid me to do it. Well, you sound boring. But I know this, and I avoid having a good friend status with anyone because I don't want to socialize the way other people do. I've pretty much done the same thing before with a friend. Sent her messages telling her that while I liked her, I didn't really enjoy when we hung out and didn't want to anymore. It sounds like a breakup, and in a way, I guess it is. OP replies, yeah, I'm getting a lot of hate for it, but I just don't see why I should continue to be friends with someone I don't like hanging out with. We don't enjoy doing the same things. I tried to drift away slowly, and we wouldn't have it, so I had to treat it like a breakup. Linny WTF says, you don't have to continue hanging out with anyone you don't want to, and you can break off a friendship whenever you like. Nobody is telling you to continue being friends with him. Just don't be a wiener and actually tell the guy instead of him thinking you were great friends and you blocking him out of the blue. Total wiener move. Tell the guy, sorry, I don't like your cooking at all and want to do other activities. Had a few friends just ghost me like this, and to this day, I have no idea why. I thought they were really good friends. Did you not read the part where she sent a message explaining all of that?
Yeah, she blocked afterwards, but like she did give an explanation. This is very annoying. All those comments were really annoying me.
Update. I got a lot of hate on my last post here, and at first I couldn't really understand why. One person who continued to comment angrily was a user named Recycled Air. So I actually ended up messaging him privately to ask why he thought I was such a villain. It turned out to be a really productive conversation.
Okay.
I gave him some more details about the situation and really ended up realizing that the issue was deeper than I made it out to be. I had left some details out of my original post, thinking that they were not necessarily relevant, only to realize that they were the true root of the problem. Thanks to Recycled Air for letting me get stuff off my chest and encouraging me to make another post. So I will provide those details, and surprisingly, even to me, new events have occurred, and I will share those as well. When Michael and I first moved to the state we live in, we were both romantically interested in one another. That's
What?
That's a little bit of something right there.
How do we miss that?
That's a whole lot of something right away. We had been online friends for a while, having only met once briefly in real life, and I think we expected more to develop between us when we moved to the same city. I did not mention this at all in my post because after spending some time together, I realized I didn't feel that way toward him anymore. I told him that up front, and we agreed to continue to be friends. Initially, one of the biggest reasons that we connected was over our shared love of outdoor activities. So for everyone I'm guessing that Michael was unable to or disinterested in that hike and the trips I planned. That just wasn't true. Michael is very physically fit and early on expressed a huge interest in these activities. However, when he wanted to hang out, he always wanted to hang out at one of our houses, and almost always this led to us being in situations where he would want to lay on the couch and gradually lead into trying to cuddle with me. So while I disliked his cooking, I guess that really I just felt like he was never respectful of the boundary that I set when I told him I only wanted to be friends.
I see. See, when you're hiking, you're not staying in close quarters so he could try to make a move on you.
So you're going to tell me this whole time that after you were like, let's just be friends, and then he constantly insisted on cooking you dinner and trying to hook up with you on the couch. We didn't stop hanging out with this guy. You got chronic CPP, chronic people pleasing. You should have cut this thing off way earlier. You should be like, dude, why do you keep trying to cuddle with me? We're just friends. You're being weird. I don't want to hang out with you. I was channeling my anger into his mediocre food. I tried hard to maintain a friendship by inviting him to do the things he had already told me he loved, but he never wanted to do this, and this led me to feel like he was disingenuous, which ultimately ended with me telling him off and blocking him. Many people read what I did and saw it as cruel, but I felt like this person did not respect me, and I didn't feel like what I did was wrong. However, there's more. The day after I made the post, I came home from work and found a stuffed animal on my doorstep with an apology note. It just said, sorry for being a bad friend.
Aww.
Nah, but see, that's the thing. You're being creepy.
Yeah.
I thought about it for a couple of days and decided that maybe I have been overly harsh. I unblocked Michael and I thanked him for the stuffed animal. Then I apologized for blocking him and told him basically what I said here, that I felt like he didn't respect my boundaries and he didn't really value my friendship because he never wanted to do anything that I suggested. I expected him to be defensive, but he actually apologized profusely. Of course he did, because he's freaking weird, bro. He's weird.
Yeah.
He's got weird vibes and he's so unbelievably desperate to, like, I don't know, like be with you or be around you or be near you. It's like, ugh.
And he can't even cook.
He told me the situation with his roommates had been deteriorating for the last 2 months and he was physically and mentally exhausted, which is why he never wanted to do anything. Every time he declined my invites, he could feel that we were drifting apart as friends, but he was focused on trying to manage the issues at home. One thing he apologized for was being unable to communicate to me what was going on. He also recognized that he had pushed my boundaries and tried to move things in a direction that was not platonic, and he apologized for that as well. In fact, he sent me a very long, seemingly heartfelt message that I found really touching. He told me that the day that I sent him that message and blocked him, he realized that between pushing away his one friend here and having such major problems with his roommates, he just didn't want to stay in this city. Because if he runs away, all his problems will go away as well. He realized the issue was that he was in the city. Move across the country.
Go ahead.
That will
The
surely
only
solve your
thing
problems.
Keeping me here was my roommates and this friend that I will turn into more than a friend.
So the day he left the plush on my doorstep, he had also packed a U-Haul and moved back home to his parents' house, where he can be happy.
Run away to mommy and daddy. That's what he did.
So, in the last 2 days, we've both apologized a lot and sort of resumed our superficial, meme-sharing, internet long-distance friends relationship that we had for a year prior to both moving to the same state. He said he hopes that one day, when he's in a better place, we can meet up again and I can know him as the person he really is. Not that exciting, but I guess a happier ending than I expected. Thanks to everyone who chimed in, even the criticisms really helped me unpack the issue that I was having. And by the way, you shouldn't have any issue listening to full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platforms. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 3 months worth of stories.
I don't like that. She was saying it's a happy ending, but you can get to know me for the person I really am. What? So you're just backing out of all of the bad things I said about you, saying, oh, that just wasn't the real me.
Yeah.
You just don't actually know me. I'm
Yeah.
like actually a really cool guy. This is honestly why you need to not have pity friendships. Because
It's true.
if there's people that are antisocial and they are attracted to your gender and they don't have a lot of friends and you are friends with them randomly, not out of their own earnings, but just you're going out of your way to be a friend that they didn't earn or deserve at all, they're gonna think you're interested in them. You gotta not do that, girl.
So a lot of people also wanted me to tell him his cooking was bad, but I decided not to. Why? Why? It just felt like it was unnecessary because he was already so down. And ultimately, the cooking was irritating me mostly because of the events surrounding it. Maybe if we hung out again in person someday, we could laugh about it. But for now, I communicated what was really upsetting me, and he had the opportunity to explain his behavior and apologize. So I think it was as constructive as it could be.
OP, you are just too dang nice, okay?
I think
Because
that's true.
if you are still being friends with him, even though you talked about like just being friends and he apologized for like trying to make things more than that, he is going to still think that that's a possibility in the future. Like that will even if he like doesn't totally believe it, like it'll be in the back of his mind. Like maybe, yeah, we talked about it, but like, maybe someday it'll turn into something. Like that's going to be what the relationship is. He's being too creepy.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe those kind of guys hang on to.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, so we'll keep this going for another 5 years, and then one day we'll fall in love because she spoke to me.
Yeah.
It's like, bleh.
It's like, no. They don't have it like many other friends. They're not gonna go outside enough to meet people.
My wife ended things with our poly friends after they tried to exclude me.
You can't handle my wife. You don't deserve me.
So I, 28 male, and my wife Gwen, 29 female, met 5 years ago at a munch and really connected. It was lust at first sight.
All right then.
We dated for a year, and when she got a job offer in another city, I asked her to marry me and stay. She stayed, but wanted an open relationship because she was bi. We opened up 6 months later and got married soon after. By the way, this comes from Throwaway to Play, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, we both date separately. I have a couple of friends with benefits, and she has a girlfriend who I adore. Last year, she started dating a couple, male, female, Tom and Kathy. They do an overnight every other weekend or so. The two girls are super close, and her husband plays with them sometimes. Last month, they told Gwen they were hosting a spicy hobby event and wanted her to attend. They really built it up as a large event and got her pumped up. She came home and was telling me everything about it, and I expressed a desire to go with her as we had been getting into different things lately. She was talking to Kathy and mentioned we were looking forward to attending and was asking more questions. Towards the end of her call, Kathy asked if Gwen truly wanted me to attend or if I was insisting. Gwen explained how we were looking to spice up our routine, and this event sounded exciting for both of us. That next weekend, Gwen went to Tom and Kathy's place and had a good time. But before she left, Tom said that the event was invitation only and not a +1 event. Gwen got a little upset, but Kathy said they could work something out where everyone was happy. Gwen came home upset and told me what transpired and how she was unhappy with how things worked out, especially Tom waiting till she was about to leave to spring the news to her. I was disappointed and told her if she wanted to go without me, there would be other events we could go to together. But she was confident in what Kathy told her and was sure we could go together. Gwen reached out to Kathy a couple of times, but never got a firm answer. Gwen left Friday to spend the night at Tom and Kathy's again, but called me about 9 p.m. asking if I was out or at home and was heading back to our house. I met her there and she was super emotional. She said she asked about the event when she got there and they evaded discussing it. She told Kathy she was not comfortable being around Tom that night, and the two of them went off together and talked. Kathy told Gwen that there was another spicy hobby event in January at a club that the four of us could attend together, but that I wouldn't be able to attend this event at their house. Gwen told her that we had already scheduled that night as a date night, and if I wasn't welcome, she wouldn't be able to attend either. After some more discussion, Gwen said maybe they needed to take a break, and maybe in January after that event, she could reevaluate their relationship. She left without talking to Tom, but he called her on the way home and accused her of holding Kathy's feelings hostage and how wrong that was.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. Like, Gwen set a boundary. Like, if he's not going to come, I don't feel
I can't
comfortable
go.
coming.
I have this.
We have plans.
Yeah.
And he's, like, getting mad at her.
He's like, well, you're holding Kathy's feelings hostage. I can't hold her feelings hostage. That's not how feelings work. She's completely in control of her own feelings.
Gwen told him nothing of the kind, but said they weren't taking her feelings into account either. She accused Tom of not wanting me there because they didn't want to share Gwen's attention, and I would have spoiled their plans. She said he got quiet, and Gwen told him not to contact her again. Gwen cried on my shoulder the rest of the night, and I told her she was right to end things with them. Kathy tried to call the next morning at least 5 times, but Gwen wouldn't answer. She left several teary voicemails pleading with Gwen to talk to her, and left 2 long text messages and emails. I'm trying to stay neutral, but it wouldn't bother me if she shut the door on that relationship. But Gwen and Kathy had a strong bond for over a year, and I can tell it's taking a toll on Gwen. Gwen came home with a big grin and a couple of messages. First was a text from Kathy, saying she would love to come to dinner at our house this Saturday and possibly stay the night. She also requested that the 3 of us have dinner together. She is anxious to finally get to know me better. Second was an email from Tom. He apologized for making a lot of grave errors around the party and how he handled things. He was also very disturbed that Gwen and I no longer considered their house a safe place. He wanted to take all of us out to dinner somewhere and discuss things and mend some fences. He was very contrite and took the blame for all the mistakes that were made. Gwen told Kathy we could see her anytime after 6 on Saturday. She had also composed a response to Tom's email. It was lengthy, and I told her she could have easily just shortened it to pound sand. I talked her out of her version and told her to just agree to meet them in a couple of weeks so she could see how her date with Kathy went first. Any advice? And we do have an update, but...
Honestly, I don't quite. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Kathy and Tom seem like they're creating problems where there aren't any.
Right.
But I also think that if maybe we don't need to be having a relationship with these people that are
right. Because wasn't
making everything so
Gwen
complicated.
only dating Kathy?
Yeah.
So she's not even really dating Tom. For Tom to like come in and be like the one kind of controlling things was weird to me.
Weird. All of this is weird. I feel like I would want to like take a step back from that.
Right. Which it sounds like she did.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, where's this going?
I don't know. I need more information.
Update. So Kathy took my wife up on her invitation for dinner and a date at our house. My beef ribs came out perfect, and the whole dinner was spot on. Kathy went on and on about how good everything was, and we had a good conversation, but skirted some of the issues Gwen had lately. I stayed long enough to help put the leftovers away and load the dishwasher. Then I opened the second bottle of wine and made my exit. When I got back after 11 p.m., they were in the spare bedroom with the door closed. I slipped into the shower and got ready for bed. Gwen popped in and said goodnight, and I heard her open her drawer. She said Kathy was staying the night. I woke up to the smell of fresh cinnamon rolls and came into the kitchen to find them both at the table drinking coffee. Kathy got up and thanked us for a wonderful time and gave me a hug before grabbing her bag and heading for the door. Gwen walked her out to her car and they hugged and kissed before Kathy drove off. Gwen said they had a great time and got up for another cup of coffee, making me wait and ask about anything else. She smiled and said before I got back, they were cleaning up a little, and Kathy asked if I was coming back. Then she said she wished I would reconsider coming next weekend to the party. Gwen told her we had both had some interest in exploring, but wanted our first exposure to be together. Then she went on to say how underhanded Tom had handled it and strung her along by not giving a definite answer until the next morning after he got to play with the both of them. After being manipulated like that, she didn't feel safe at their house anymore, especially at a party like that. She said Kathy changed the subject and asked if we had given Tom's invitation to dinner any thought. They talked about it, and Gwen told Kathy maybe we could do it this Friday, the day before the event. Otherwise, it would have to wait till after the first of the year, with the holidays falling the way they did. Gwen brought up when Kathy wanted to schedule another date, and they both decided to hold off till after the holidays. We were both surprised she didn't try to pressure Gwen more and just dropped everything after casually mentioning them. Depending on how dinner with Tom goes, Gwen wants to continue on with Kathy. And we have another update. But any thoughts?
I don't trust Kathy either.
Yeah.
I feel like she's trying to say like, oh, it was Tom. I would love for you to come though, but it was Tom's fault why this all happened. But I feel
Right.
like, I don't know. I don't quite trust her.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'm feeling yet.
I don't know. I feel like Kathy and Tom are just gonna make this whole thing
Right.
too tricky.
I feel like we totally could have just been like, hey, it's not going to happen for this event, but
Yeah.
we'll reconsider for the next one.
Sure.
And everyone should have just dropped it.
Yeah. Let's move on from that.
It's not going to work this time.
Mm-hmm.
Update 2. So Gwen and I took Tom up on his offer to take us out for dinner to try to mend some fences and clear the air. It was a nice restaurant, not too loud we couldn't talk, and not so quiet we couldn't talk about delicate topics without being overheard. Tom apologized for not being clear about the party and communicating better. He was sorry Gwen felt unsafe at their house now and hoped after the dust settled they could take turns hosting their get-togethers. Gwen was quick to point out that she felt manipulated by not getting a straight answer about her request and being strung along with promises to work out something, and that there was some wiggle room where an accommodation could be made for me to attend. That last part, she was staring at Kathy the whole time. To top it off, she felt used when she wasn't given a final answer until after Tom had gotten a chance to get in her pants. Kathy was the one to apologize now and said that was never her intention and that she wanted Gwen at the event and was trying to find a workaround to make that happen. Gwen said because of the way things went down, she no longer felt safe at their house, especially if Tom was there. And now there was no way she would attend even if I was invited. Luckily, the food came out and the temperature at the table came down a few degrees. As the dinner wound down, Tom extended an invitation to a New Year's Eve party one of his friends was throwing. He said it would be a great opportunity for us to meet some of his friends and for Tom and Kathy to get a chance to know me better. By the way, you can always know us better by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. It's a little bit left, but
I agree with Cowbot as God. Kathy's up. She's up to something.
she's up to something.
I feel like they're all up to something.
They're all up to
I saw a lot of
something.
comments that were saying like Kathy and Tom want OP's wife, Gwen
Yeah,
to themselves. and that's what I-
100%. That's what it feels
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. And I feel like the dinner to clear the air, they're just doing it for the look of it, not actually because they want to clear
It was
the
just
air.
to get her comfortable to like
Yeah.
continue back to where they
Yeah,
were, or to get her to come to the party.
Yeah.
Like I don't get what's so wrong about OP going to this party.
Well, because they don't want him there.
I
They
know,
don't
but
want him
it's like
involved.
your whole story is completely crumpled because it's like just let OP
Yeah.
come and we'd have no problems.
Zero issue.
Yeah.
It's a trap, says Akale.
I thanked him for the invitation, but declined as we were already going to one of my partner's houses to their party. Gwen told Kathy after Christmas they should get together again, and they hugged it out. I shook Tom's hand and thanked him for dinner, but when he went to say goodbye to Gwen, she managed to keep the table between them. Oh, just like
What?
hugging him over the table, I guess.
She's like,
bye.
bye.
Yeah, clearly she doesn't feel comfortable with Tom
It doesn't
anymore
seem like
either,
it.
Which, like, I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Makes sense. I feel like it's been really weird for.
And it was icky
minute.
how he handled that.
Yeah.
Overall, the dinner stayed pretty civil. No yelling or blood was spilled, but it did get a little chilly at times. With any luck, Gwen can salvage her relationship with Kathy and continue going forward. And that's the end of that story. My boyfriend's friend ruined Halloween and everything changed.
How dare you?
I went to a Halloween party this year with my partner. I was dressed as Velma and he was Shaggy.
Like Scoob.
Everything was going great, and I was genuinely having a great time. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Tome 8 Toe. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, at one point, I went to the kitchen to grab some water. One of my partner's friends came in after me. I barely know this guy, and he was definitely wasted. He looked me up and down and made a comment and referenced my outfit in a way that made my stomach drop.
Did you go, Jinkies?
I can't find my glasses. Then he followed it up with another comment implying my partner would be excited to get me out of those clothes later, and that he would too if he was my partner because I looked like I needed to be cracked. Whatever the heck that means.
Wow, these guys are pretty young, not gonna lie.
It just felt uncomfortable and gross. I left without getting water and went straight back to my partner. I didn't say anything at the time because I thought maybe I was overreacting. I've had friends joke with me before, but they're my friends, and it never felt like this. Fast forward to about a week ago, my partner asked if I wanted to go to that friend's Christmas party. I said no, way too quickly, and he immediately knew something was off. You didn't tell him?
Why didn't you tell him?
You didn't tell him?
I would have, first thing I would have been like, yo, Jonathan over there, he's wasted first and foremost, but he says he wants to take a crack at it. Jinkies.
When he asked me to be honest, I ended up crying. I cry when stressed, I don't know. And told him what happened. He got really quiet. Like really very scarily quiet. Then he wiped my tears and asked hesitantly if his friend had touched me at all. This makes me feel like they know something about this friend.
Not good.
When I said no, he looked so relieved, then angry again before he stepped outside to make a call. I heard the front door open, then slam. When he came back, he looked resigned. He told me I didn't have to worry about that friend or the party, and apologized that I felt like I couldn't tell him sooner. Now I feel guilty, like I caused unnecessary drama by bringing it up so late. I keep wondering if my reaction that night was valid or if I made a big deal out of something I should have brushed off. I just can't tell anymore. We have some relevant comments. Weekly Conversation 8. You didn't do anything wrong. His hopefully ex-friend is disgusting. He's the one who caused this when he made comments to you. Opie says, thank you. I don't know. I get so nervous when there's conflict or when I feel like I've started a mess when I didn't have to. My partner keeps hovering. I think we both just don't know how to broach this, or I think he's giving me room to bring it up first. Again, I don't know. Thank you. With my best guess, I assume he called and cursed that guy out. We have an update.
Yeah, no, what I can get from OP saying all these things, I think OP is very, like, people pleaser or, like...
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, I don't want to start drama. You didn't start anything, OP. This was
did
all
not
on the
start
friend,
this.
and I think your boyfriend is not necessarily upset at you, of course not. I think he's like, oh, maybe she doesn't trust me, or like...
If anything, I think he's just sad that you felt like you couldn't go
to
to
him,
with that.
exactly.
But, like, he probably just sadder at himself. Like, I don't think he's sad at you.
He's-
I think he's happy that you told him.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also the notion of, like, because it's Halloween to Christmas, he may have talked to that friend, or, like,
Right,
may
he's
have hung
probably
out with that
seen
friend.
him.
Yeah, and he's like, I wish I would have known sooner because I
Right.
didn't, like, everything was so chill, but this guy said those comments to you, which were not okay.
Update. I was gonna just delete this account if I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel really silly for posting, but I'm also glad I did in a way because a lot of you are super duper nice. Except for the weirdos who asked to see my fit. Like, read the room or something maybe? But this is for the people who actually went out of their way to comment something nice and help me through this. Anyway, we actually talked the same night I made my original post. I was reading comments when my partner texted along the lines of, hey, on the way home right now, can we set aside some time tonight, maybe after dinner, to talk about the elephant in the room? I spent a whole hour and a half hyping myself up and still cried immediately into our conversation. We started with why we avoided the conversation first. We both admitted we were anxious and using being busy as a crutch of sorts. We agreed to address stuff sooner next time because our relationship is a top priority and should be treated as such. Then he told me he did talk to that friend. That phone call he stepped out to take, that was it. He ended up taking it all the way to the car because it got that ugly. He tried to soften the details for me, he always does, but the summary was, my partner got heated, borderline threats were made, and the guy tried to brush it off with, they were just compliments, and you should be flattered too, bro, she's hot. My partner at that point, especially after that last point, hung up before he said anything he couldn't take back. He also admitted it was probably good I didn't tell him the night of the party. He was wasted, and based on how furious he was sober and how dim that guy actually seems to be, he's pretty sure he would have actually swung on the guy. That was the only reason that I was kind of like, maybe you wait till the next morning, because if everybody's wasted.
No, I get it. You don't want to, especially the heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah. And for the record, he had no idea that friend was a creep. They met through someone else, pretty recently too, which is why I don't really know this guy. I'm glad I will never have to now because my partner is cutting him off completely and plans on telling anyone who asks about it the truth. The guy's a creep, a predator around women. All in all, we're good. I feel really safe and really heard, and I'm just so happy. Even if the comments also made me realize that I have definite confidence problem, that's my own fault though. But my partner also alluded to it. He told me very gently that he wants me to come to him when something or someone harms me, and that I deserve to speak up, not hide, not make myself small. I don't have to do that anymore when there's people who care about me. And by the way, we care about you, so we have more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left. Any last thoughts?
This is good for you, OP. I think this is a huge realization for you that you can go to your partner, and vice versa. It should be the same way, other way around, where your partner should be able to come to you and go to you about anything that, you know, is bothering him.
I feel like this felt like such just kind of like those early relationship like jitters still of like,
they sound very
what
young.
if this like
they sound very young.
ruins something? And it's like, no, like that's something that should just be baseline. Like you should be able to go to your partner with anything.
100%. I think it's very early in the relationship, or maybe it's somewhere along, but
just young too.
is that they sound pretty young. So I think all is well that ends well. Good thing you cut off that one friend, and you guys can enjoy the next Halloween without that creep around.
Hearing him say that meant a lot. So did your guys' comments too. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe I do and I just don't know how to confront it yet. But I'm pretty sure I'll have to soon. For myself, for my relationships, yeah. Anyways, we're good. I'm happy and the panic is now, for the most part, over. My partner dealt with all of this in a way I didn't even know I needed, you know? I think I need to start listening to my gut more. And thank you again to everyone who supported me on the original post. That's the end of that story.
Nice.
A lovely ending.
Congrats, OP.
I criticized my wife's DIY haircut and she had a meltdown on me.
You're supposed to say, no, honey, I love your bangs.
My wife, 25 female, decided to follow what she says is a TikTok trend. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't really know what it is. Instead of going to a salon, she cut her own hair. Her hair used to go down to her back, and now it's really short. By the way, this comes from Chemical Vanilla 201. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Sometimes I don't even know that. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, she asked me what I thought. I said, wow, why didn't you just go to a salon?
Why would you say that?
She said she likes it this way because it feels liberating. She asked again how I liked it, and I said it looks uneven. And like her 5-year-old niece was left alone with scissors.
OP, you're the a-hole.
We didn't need to add that second
You're
part.
the a-hole. You're the a-hole.
She got really upset and said that I was being controlling. Well, I don't think you were being
I don't think you're being controlling. I think you're being an a-hole.
And that I was just making excuses because men stereotypically like women with long hair. I told her the issue isn't the length, it's that the haircut itself looks bad, especially in the back. I also said, oh no, since my company's Christmas dinner is tomorrow, could she please go to a salon and fix it?
You're the a-hole.
She started crying and called me a jerk. Now she says she isn't coming to the dinner at all. I honestly don't know what to do. She was trying to give herself a pixie cut like Anne Hathaway or Michelle Williams, but instead gave herself a Dumb and Dumber Lloyd Christmas haircut. Am I the a-hole?
Yes.
Comments. Comment 1. You're not out of line for saying it looks bad or that she should fix it. I think a reasonable person would want to know what people honestly think, especially before they go to a major public event. You are out of line for saying it looks like a 5-year-old cut it. That's just being unnecessarily cruel.
Yeah.
I agree with that commenter.
Mhm.
Comment 2. Pro tip. If you want people to listen to your criticism, maybe try to not insult them while you give it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you had to insult her and say that about the 5-year-old being left alone with scissors. I don't know why you would say something insulting and then be insulted and surprised that she's upset and doesn't want to go to the dinner or fix it.
Yeah, because sometimes you get like, I mean, I do this where sometimes my parents will say something about an outfit and then I'm just like shut down. I'm like, well, now I can't
I don't
even
even
go out.
want to go now.
I got it, I'm done. And like, there's probably an incredibly easy
Yeah.
fix. But if I'm already in
Yeah,
that mood,
There's
it's like
such
it's so hard to get
fine
out.
line, and I think it is so mood dependent because
Mhm.
sometimes I do want honest feedback about an
Yeah.
outfit,
Absolutely.
but then other times I just want you to be like, "You look great. Let's go."
Yeah. I feel like if I come up to you and say, like, does this look weird? You could be like, yeah, that doesn't really go together. If I come up to you and say, do I look good? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And you can give little critiques. You can give like, oh, I think with different shoes. I think maybe that your hair should be up or down. That's it.
Oh, wow, that's new. I'm glad you like it. How about you go to the salon to have them touch up the back since that's hard to do on your own? Other than that, if you like the length, then that's great. Would not have unalived you. You're the a-hole.
Mhm.
Not for not liking her haircut, but for being mean and foolish with how you brought up her fixing it. This is your wife.
Oh.
Would you have wanted her to mock you for trying something and saying you looked like you let a 5-year-old do it? Probably not. And we have an update.
Oh, boy.
And the update is, since I don't have the energy to reply to DMs.
Let's see if she actually went to this dinner.
Ooh.
I think if OP actually listens to these comments,
yes.
he could go to his wife and say, I'm so sorry for how I said that. I love the length. I just think it's a little uneven. And, like, you know, I'd love to pay for you to go, like, us to go to the salon together and we can make a little day out of it.
Yeah. My worry, this is the day before the dinner.
It's true.
Is she
It's
going to
true.
be able to? Update. I apologized to my wife.
Ooh.
I told her I was being a mean knucklehead and that my comments were uncalled for. I told her that whether she wanted to go to a salon or was happy with her hair as it is, it was totally fine by me. The only thing I really wanted was for her to come with me to my work Christmas party. She forgave me, but said she wasn't going to a salon because she likes her hair. I accepted that and we went to the party. She knows most of my coworkers' wives, so she went to say hi to them while I talked with the guy from work. After a while, she came up to me and asked if we could leave early.
Where all the girls like,
Oh,
your hair. Oh.
I hope they weren't mean, girl. She looked upset. I said I wish we could, but we had to stay until my boss gave his speech. Leaving right then would have looked really bad unless it was an emergency. She said no problem. In the middle of my boss's speech, one of my coworkers' wives, who's also her friend, quietly came up to me and whispered that my wife was in the bathroom crying and having a meltdown. I had to sneak out. It turned out she felt really insecure about her haircut because 2 of the coworkers' wives had told her politely but still that it looked terrible.
Oh, why? Why? Tell her later. I don't know.
One of them even offered to book her an appointment with a stylist to fix it before Christmas. I need to see how bad this haircut is.
It's got to have been pretty bad.
Yikes. I talked her out of the bathroom and told my boss my wife had an emergency and that we needed to leave. Luckily, he understood. She cried and screamed the whole way home, saying people are mean and had made fun of her and commented on her hair. I told her not to take it seriously, that they were probably wasted and just saying random stuff. Plus, who cares what a bunch of random strangers say? Also, she's always had long hair, so of course she looks different now, which is probably why they commented. I told her not to worry about what they think. But you know what I think? That you should go right now and listen to more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. There's just a little bit left. Oh,
This is tough. I think she'll realize in a couple of days.
just really unfortunate timing.
Yeah, I think she's being a little stubborn.
Yeah.
Just in terms of herself. She's like, no, I like this hair. I like it. She's trying to convince herself. I think give her a couple days, make her feel good about herself. She'll realize, yeah, my hair is pretty uneven. I do
Yeah.
need to go. I think she'll figure it out.
I think so.
Yeah.
We got home. She was starting to feel a bit better, but then that same woman texted her again
Shut
with,
up, girl!
"Here's the number to my stylist. Luckily, she has an opening for you on Tuesday morning."
Oh my god. These
That's
women
like-
are nasty.
Why are they doubling down?
They're nasty.
Yeah. Women are just nasty, though.
Why would you say that?
That set her off again. She started screaming and locked herself in our bathroom.
Oh man.
I made her breakfast this morning. She feels better now, but I really don't want to talk about her hair ever again. I honestly don't know how to approach things from here, considering we are invited to my family's Christmas dinner. I'm just gonna go with the flow and don't care anymore. I had no idea a TikTok trend would end like this, but here we are.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can text his mom
Yeah.
and be like, wife's got a pixie.
Yeah,
I need you to
you
tell
text-
her you love it.
Yeah, you
when we
text
show
everyone
up.
in your family individually and you're like, hey. Or if you
Hype
don't want
this
the
girl
trail,
up.
if you don't want like the text
Call
trail,
them.
yeah, you call them. You say, hey mom, you need to tell my wife she's got
She's the pretty. She looks like Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, she looks like Anne Hathaway. I don't care how you actually think she looks. She looks like Anne Hathaway.
Nothing is wrong with her hair.
Got it? Got it.
Comments. Comment 1. I think your wife needs to accept she gave herself a terrible haircut. She should also probably stop following TikTok trends, not the a-hole. Comment 2. She can like it, but if people are giving her numbers of stylists and their availability, it must be really bad. Comment 3. You need to be prepared for another meltdown at Christmas if someone mentions her hair. How will you handle that? If she wants to leave, what will you do? Best of luck. Opie says, I'm hoping she chooses not to
Oh,
go. So we stay at home and have a nice, quiet Christmas together. But that's the end of that story.
My father is offering me money to talk to him again, and it only offended me.
Well, what does daddy want, huh?
And there's a trigger warning here for mentions of a past harmful relationship. My 24-year-old female dad offered me over $4,000 in a retirement account he set up for me, but said he wants to sign it over to me in person. I have no interest in his money, even if I don't need to see him in person to get it, because he always has strings attached when he gives me something. By the way, this comes from user Routine Internet 146. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Savannah.
Oh boy, it's only Monday, guys, and I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. As OP says, I can just see it out of the corner of my eye. My dad set up this retirement account when I turned 18 as a birthday gift when we were still in low contact, but I cut off communication with him when I was older. I don't quite remember when, after a fight where he disrespected me and refused to go to therapy. It's been years of no contact at this point. The only thing I don't have my dad blocked on is through email, where I receive a handful of emails a year, and most of them are delusionally normal sounding, like how he would love to come visit me and meet my partner and updates on his life and how he loves me. But every once in a while I get a really negative one that is just aggressive enough and scares me. My dad has a calculated speech he uses to get his way. It makes you feel crazy and like you're the problem when you are reacting normally to stress. He is a master gaslighter. Most recently, he has been trying to give me access to the account he set up for me by saying, I will be mailing you a physical copy of this, the account information, if I don't hear back from anyone about it. And then I will be coming in person. So let's avoid that with a simple email reply, and then you can go back to your going no contact. My father lives across the country from me, but has shown up at my house when we lived in the same state in the past. And I wouldn't put it past him to do this again despite the new distance between us. I do not want him showing up at my home or work causing drama. In previous emails, he insisted on meeting in person to discuss this in a way that was phrased much less like a threat. I have not responded to any of his emails over the years, but my dad has been very persistent on this, even sending a creepy DM to my mom's cat's Instagram page. My creepy dad said, "Hi, cat's name. You're a very cute kitty."
I don't
hope-
like the way you're reading
I
it.
hope you're well and enjoying town, smiley face. I wonder if you could do me a favor. Could you help me get in touch with OP and or OP's mom? I've been saving money for OP in a retirement account, and it's almost time that it has to be put in OP's name alone. Thank you for your consideration, and I hope the birds are keeping you entertained. I am just so tired of this. I have asked advice
Thanks, white
from my mom and some people in my life, even older coworkers of mine who have kids, to get different perspectives on what I should do. I don't want this money because he uses gifts for leverage. I feel like they always have strings attached, like, I was so generous and gave you this thing, so you have to give me your energy and love. Talking to him hurts me for so many other reasons I can get into if you think it's relevant, but this is the only thing specific to my issue right now. I feel I need to share because this is already so long. Should I email him back and feed into this to keep him from showing up at my house? If I do, what do I say? How do I protect the peace I've made for myself since he's been out of my life? And there are some comments.
I mean-
build a decoy house.
I felt the decoy.
Build a decoy house.
I think that I feel like no contact. Like you've gone this far, and now like all of a sudden he's like coming back, and he's like, "Oh, here's retirement funds or something." Right? Am I right? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Then it's like, thanks, but like, huh? And also, why are you going through my cat's Instagram? Like that was like the weird part. But I would, I mean, I would get in contact with him so he doesn't like just show up and then you're like not prepared. I feel like at least being able to control when he's there is a better outcome than just being like, I'm just gonna ignore it and like hopefully he doesn't show up. Then you're just kind of like living like in anxiousness, and that's not good. So I would just set up, like a time and date, be like, if you want to do this, this will probably be, last time of us speaking, whatever, you're weird, I don't like you, and this is what we're going to discuss, and that's it. And then we're done, and you don't need to talk to me ever again. Thanks, Dad.
Cool. Yeah. Comment one. One thing I'll share with you is that the most malignant narc I've ever known weaponized therapy. I actually think he lied about even going to get my guard down. There's no way he was able to find a new therapist and meet with them within days of booking. Usually therapists are booked solid for a while. But he would just tell me what his therapist supposedly said that always conveniently lined up with his point of view and benefited him, to my detriment. Comment 2 says, OP, you want to have some fun? Tell your dad. You'll meet with him after he sends you his explanation of benefits from his insurance company or Medicare that shows the billing for 6 months' worth of therapy visits with a licensed psychologist or licensed psychiatrist. No LCSWs either, a real psychologist or psychiatrist. That will never happen. He's a loser for even trying to sell that lie. Comment 3 says, so what? You'd get the money in 40 years. No thanks. Also, I have posted this before, but true no contact means cutting communication. You reading all his messages and emails and anguishing over them and writing posts about them isn't helping. Block, delete, do not read them. I have never once showed up for an in-person meeting that was begged for or returned a call or email where it was ever important or beneficial. It was just a giant waste of time and more of the same. As you can see, it almost certainly will just make you very upset. In my opinion, the time to be nice and fix things was in the past. There is nothing that exists to salvage, and I am not interested in trying to force relationships with people that have already screwed up so much. These people, this is all they know, and all they have to offer. If they showed up in person, that would be a real problem because some of them definitely do that. They want reaction and interaction, but everyone's situation is different. Personally, our plan is to not answer the door. If we could drive away or go somewhere else, that would work also, but not even a single word or eye contact. A lot of them want to leave crap at your door and stuff like that because, again, they're forcing you to deal with them, even if it is only indirectly. You don't want to give them any hope whatsoever. And there is an update. That just made me really sad, bro. I know that sometimes that's the case, bro. Sometimes I get tripped out. I'm like, are we actually doing something wrong? Like telling people to be like no contact with people. So, I mean, I know there's situations where that's right and the best call. But like, I don't know.
I think it should just be no contact. I don't know. I just think like there's nothing really beneficial. I mean, I guess maybe a little retirement fund or something, but like I don't know if it would like actually if he's lying or not. I'm not sure. You did that.
Okay. Update. I got a lot of good advice from my last post from many lovely commentators who have more experience handling this kind of relationship than I do. Most people told me not to reach out because that would only invite more emails. I ended up deleting my last post out of fear my dad would see it and send me another email, but that happened anyways. On Tuesday, I think I got the worst email to date, which is weird because he normally doesn't send emails so close together. It started with him saying, "My therapist told me to say this to you," which was about the only glimmer of light in the whole message because I really do hope he is in therapy, but I can't imagine a therapist instructing a parent to share what he followed that sentence with. He told me that he has, quote, "always allowed your mom to tell you all sorts of lies about me since the breakup," and wanted to share his story. He followed with what apparently was a writing assignment from his therapist. He started describing in detail multiple times in which my mother, who I am closer to, mistreated him during their relationship, both before and after I was born. While he did put a trigger warning in the message, I do not think it was appropriate or necessary for me to have those details. I can't imagine a therapist telling anyone to share this information with their child. One part of the email that struck me as funny is my dad implied that my mom was trying to baby trap him with me. I have talked to my mom about the circumstances of my birth in the past, and she told me that she lost her health insurance, which made her have to miss her birth control shot, and they decided they would just be safe about it, but clearly they weren't. I don't know why my mother, who was in her early 20s and still in college, would baby trap a struggling musician when they were both super broke. I don't know. That detail specifically really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't want to post all the graphic depictions of mistreatment, but trust me, it was an extremely dramatic and difficult read. Now I have two sides of the story regarding my mom and dad's marriage. My mom has been very transparent with me about how they were both harmful towards each other, minus the gory details my dad graciously provided, and how they drove each other crazy. My dad's story is that he was the victim. He was just trying to do his best, and my mom manipulated him into staying in the relationship. And by the way, if you want to stay listening to more full episodes with stories just like this one, you go to your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, yeah. And you search what? What do you search, Savannah?
Okay, story time.
Yes, that is correct.
You'll see Bane, and you'll see a
You
girl
will
with a
have
lot of armpit hair.
the girl with
And
the
you'll see
dragon under her arms.
Keon.
Technically, they won't see us because they're listening to us, but they can picture
Whatever.
us.
Toot, toot. Let me get that.
Blah,
Beep,
blah,
beep.
blah.
Honestly, I don't know what any of that has to do with me at the end of the day. Either my dad sent this email knowing it would hurt me, get me to feel bad, specifically for him, or he didn't even think of how it would affect me. He sent it for him. He didn't send it with my interests at heart. It was so upsetting. I cried for hours, unable to stop visualizing everything. I determine my relationships with my two parents on how they make me feel, not on their marriage. Their marriage was terrible. They got divorced like 20 years ago. I don't need to know this. I don't know. I'm just upset about it and preparing for him to show up at my work or home. I don't know what else to do. Decoy house. Decoy, I mean it. Decoy house.
My boyfriend bought himself a console, then bought me lemon soap?
I love limoncello.
My boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. We live together, and he's never been the best at gift giving. For example, last year, he got me a PlayStation 5, which is nice, but I have never expressed wanting one, so it felt more for him. I like games now and do use it. Also, for my birthday, he got me kitchen hand soap and hand sanitizer in lemon scent. I do not like lemon scent. By the way, this comes from user KeyYam8800, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers, guys. We only know what we do, so let us know what you do in the comments, like if you like lemon soap or not. As OP says, well, this year, since his birthday is on the 17th, I ended up doing these notes leading up to Christmas with cute, flirty rhymes and hints about the next gift. I got him some decent gifts. Alpaca socks, Wade heating blankets, snacks, board games for us, and a book he wanted. I gave him his final gift at 1 a.m. on Christmas. I asked him if I could have mine yet. He said he felt bad that he didn't do as much as me. He informed me he didn't get as many hours as he wanted at work and that he wanted to save some money for our anniversary trip next month. I'm paying for the entire hotel, by the way, and it's not a far trip. Fun. I don't care how much he spends, but I do care if it's personal and thoughtful. I will admit I'm upset he didn't say anything about a budget before the day of, as he had more than enough time to tell me. I even asked him a few days earlier if he already has something for me. He said that I already know what I was getting, but didn't tell me what. I discussed jewelry with him, so that is what I assumed it would be, and I was excited. What I actually got, you ready for this? I got a thing of Rocher chocolates with 3 flavors, 2 of which I won't eat because I hate coconut, and it has coconut.
Oh, he don't know you, girl. He don't know.
OP, I'm getting also a nice, I see a pattern here of you don't like fruits.
You don't like lemon. You don't like coconut. What's next? You hate mangoes?
Oh, hell no. I love mango. I also got a pair of boxed lounge pants with Christmas lights on them as the design. I really don't like Christmas that much. The last thing, a purple Stanley Cup. I just got a new one for myself last month. My favorite color is also definitely not purple. I can't be too mad at the Stanley Cup as it was the nicest thing he got me. I'm really hoping this was a joke and that there will be more tomorrow. I do feel selfish and ungrateful for even being mad about this. I feel like he got it all last minute and didn't even put any thought into it. He never once asked me what I wanted. I am just so disappointed, and I think he knows I am since I'm not the best at hiding my feelings. He hasn't really said anything about it. We went to bed, but I'm just so stressed out about the whole thing, I can't even sleep. I just wanted something personal and special. Was that too much to ask? Our relationship has been rocky this last month, and it feels like this was the last straw. And we have an update with some clarification. First off, thanks everyone. I really didn't think this would get so much attention. I kind of just wrote it when I was upset to let it all out. Hearing that other people got other bad gifts helped. There were some really funny ones. I did confirm with him that he did, in fact, get the gifts last minute after his shift. Shocking. Yeah, we all know he did. I was pretty mad, but try not to be because it was Christmas. The sadness turned to anger real quick. I'm not mad about the PlayStation. I like it now and probably play more than he does. He was never really a gamer. I think he got it so we can have something to do together, which we have to play. Well, that's fun. Good. PlayStation's fun. I guess if you guys are playing it together.
Yeah, I love 2-player games.
Yeah. Also, yes, I will take the PlayStation if I leave him.
Ooh.
That's... All right.
I mean, it is technically yours, I guess.
It was a gift to you. It is yours. I promise. And by the way, I promise that we have more episodes that you can listen to on your favorite podcast app, such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Just type OK Storytime. That's all you have to do. I promise we have more. But there's a little bit left here. What do you think? I don't know. I haven't read anything about this being communicated. If he can switch it up from now, do you think can the relationship be saved?
I mean, it seems I don't see. That's also true. I didn't hear anything about like communicating. So like maybe they're just not communicating. And she's just like, oh, like, cool. But I feel like she also said she doesn't hide her like feelings.
Her feelings, yeah.
So then
But again, is it like I said earlier? Men are dumb. Like, not to be that as an excuse, but like, he should know when you feel upset. He should know all of this.
Oh yeah.
But
I
he-
mean,
he's
as,
like also like he can't read your mind.
as a woman, we give signs, and some of those signs may be no, it's fine,
Yeah.
and some of the signs may be like, hey, listen, I freaking hate when you do this, you know. So, I mean, I don't think that we're the best at communicating either, but I also believe that if you want something, just communicate that. You know, how else are they gonna know? And so, no one's a mind reader. Everyone expects people to just know, like, oh, we've been together for 12 years. You should just know. And it's like, actually, no,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, that you guys have been together for 4 years. He should know these things, but it seems like he doesn't,
Yeah.
which is dumb.
Yeah,
But,
there's obviously evidence that he just doesn't get it.
yeah.
And I don't know if you just have not communicated that or you have and he hasn't listened, because those are two different scenarios.
Yeah, and I know this is like the last straw. Your relationship's been on the rocks here, but maybe this can change it, telling him, hey, I appreciate those gifts, but come on, those weren't really thoughtful.
You got me hand soap
You got me
in a scent that I hate.
you got me chocolates that obviously I'm not eating. What can we talk about this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys can save it. If not, I don't blame you. Let's go ahead and finish up the story though. Hope he continues saying, I'll take the Switch and the TV too. I appreciate the concern. And he does have other great qualities, I swear. Just not gift giving, obviously. He is really sweet, sometimes, and will do things when I ask. He gets me flowers and chocolates. That I do like. Again, he does it when I'm sad. I love his personality a lot. He just happens to be the biggest only child I've ever met. You know. He does know me really well, I think, but he and the gifts say two completely different things. We talked, and he knows he messed up. I told him, sorry, just wasn't going to cut it this time, because yeah, this is a pattern I need out of him if we're going to continue. This isn't just gift giving either, as I once asked him to cook my chicken, and he just threw it in the oven with no seasoning or oil or anything. It was pretty gross. So we'll see. Again, thank you for all the support, and Merry frickin' Christmas, and Happy Holidays. Well, that was a roller coaster at the end there.
Yeah, and I mean, there was no conclusion, so hopefully...
There's no conclusion, but it seems like OP's, like, more than halfway out the door, ready to leave.
Oh, yeah, she's made up her mind. She's just waiting for an excuse to stay.
Yeah, and, like, the things I'm getting here, I asked him once to cook, like, he does have good qualities. We always get that he has good qualities. Girl, he doesn't know your favorite color.
Yeah.
Girl, you've been together for 4 years, and...
He doesn't know what you like.
He doesn't know what you like.
Or what you want.
But again, is that on OP as well, of not saying these things directly to him?
Yeah.
Or is that both on them? It seems like you asked him to cook chicken. Is he a good cook?
Technically, he did cook the chicken.
He technically did cook the chicken. Did you tell him you need to put seasonings, this, that, all the whole 9 yards? Or you said, cook the chicken. And the man said, processing. She only said cook the chicken, so I'm going to do that.
Processing is so good.
Like, when he's like, I want gifts. He's like, processing. She just said gifts. So, like, what kind of gifts? I don't know. She didn't tell me exactly what.
Yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he puts much thought into anything. And if that's going to be, if this has been your entire relationship, which it seems like it has been, that he doesn't put really much thought into anything, and if that bothers you, then just get rid of him.
Yeah, if nothing changes after this conversation, then I say break up with him. You've given hints, you've told him straight out now what you want, and if he's not doing that, I think it's best for you to leave.
You've literally given him 4 years to figure out who you are and what you want. If he doesn't figure it out by 4 years, he's not going to figure out in 10. He's not going to figure out in 20. So you might as well get out now before it gets any worse.
Yeah, but that is the end of that story.
My brother refused to pick up his son after getting back from vacation.
Pick them up from where?
So, my twin brother and his wife who I have bad blood with, went to New York City on a trip a week ago. They have a son who turned 2 today. Before leaving, my brother asked if I could watch their son, and I agreed to it. I just reminded my brother to be back by his birthday because I wouldn't want them to miss their only child's birthday. By the way, this comes from user VegetableBill2167. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
We're here to give you a little good advice goofily, you know? But we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something else, let us know in the comments. My husband and I also have a family trip planned to GWL, which is Great Wolf Lodge, a huge indoor water park, on Halloween. And I voiced to my brother that I didn't feel comfortable taking their son to a crowded water park without them tagging along. They flew back into Florida, where we all live, late last night. I didn't bother them this morning about picking up their son, due to them probably being exhausted. Around 11 a.m., my brother texted if I wanted to meet up for lunch. I was a bit annoyed at the last-minute plan because I'm a mom of 6 and I can't just drop things to go have lunch with them. They offered to buy it, so I went to the restaurant. They ended up flaking, so I got food to go and came home. I called my brother and went off on him, which caused him to block my number. He took offense that I didn't want their son tagging along on our trip during our phone argument. It's 5 p.m. and they have yet to get their son. I'm stressed, overwhelmed, and don't know what to do. I don't have his wife's number, and honestly, she won't be of any help. I know the internet is limited when it comes to helping, but what would you all do? Hoping for advice because I'm overwhelmed, and I honestly feel like getting the state involved. And there are some comments here. Girl, I would show up to his house, and I'd say, knock, knock, knock. Here's your child.
Did you forget you had a 2-year-old?
Knock, knock, knock. Your baby is here. It's your baby's birthday. Relevant comments. OP on her brother's marriage and the reason behind the trip. OP says, I didn't really want to go too much into the trip due to wanting to protect my brother's dignity. I really don't care anymore, though, about protecting him. Around a month ago, he and his wife got into a heated argument. She left him to fly to the UK to meet some man. Things didn't work out with that relationship, so she flew to New York City and convinced my husband to fly there so they could work on their relationship with a small getaway. This is the 4th or 5th time they've separated.
Oh my God, why did they have a kid?
OP on her and her husband's jobs. My husband is a pediatric craniofacial maxillofacial surgeon. I make money from the TikTok. We moved to Florida in June of this year from Arizona and use our Arizona house as an Airbnb. Our children are well kept and have a far better childhood than my husband and I had. I think it's very trashy to hate on large families and assume that we can't afford our children. A commenter says, okay, so the brother is a but what about the sister-in-law and mother of the child? She isn't missing the baby? Many moms can't even make it through a date night dinner because they don't want to leave their baby. How is she not wanting to see her baby regardless of the dad? I think it is Drogas. If it was postpartum, the dad would still want to have the child, even if the mom is freaked out. This couple shouldn't have had kids and did. OP says, the reason why my sister-in-law and I didn't get along is because she lies a lot and is a horrible person. We actually did get along until her mask fell off. I'll tell you all the drama. They've been married since August 2020. They had their wedding in our grandma's huge backyard. My grandma asked at their reception about kids in the future because she favored my brother and was happy he found someone after years of legal trouble. My sister-in-law claimed that she had cancer and they had to remove her uterus a few years ago. Literally lying about having cancer has got to be one of the scumbaggiest things you could ever do. Not only that, but you're lying to your grandmother-in-law about your ability to have children because of cancer. You are scum. Scum. Just say, no, I don't know. We're still thinking about it. 7 months into their marriage, they got into a huge argument. She told him she lied about the cancer and that she just doesn't want to have children. They had a pending divorce, but reconciled in February 2023. She ended up getting pregnant. OP on her family's background when she was growing up. OP says it's most definitely real. Feel free to come over and help if you're just going to run your mouth. Oh, get him. Get him, OP. I never said I didn't know what CPS is. Of course I know what it is. I experienced not being wanted, and the same thing happened to my brother and me at a young age. Our parents lost parental rights, and our grandparents raised us. Maybe I don't want the same thing for my nephew. Tell me you haven't grown up in a broken family without telling me the type of comment. Update, 8 days later. I apologize to the people who were waiting for an update from my last post. My husband, our kids, and I just got back from our staycation today at Great Wolf Lodge. I had a very toxic childhood. I wasn't loved and grew up in a broken family. I certainly wouldn't use my nephew for attention. I made the post when I was infuriated at my brother. It was vulnerable. It was raw. I have ADHD and I don't always think before I say things and post things. It's a personality trait I wish I could change. With that said, now going into the update. My brother did unblock my number later in the evening on the same day that he refused to pick up his son, which was October 28th. He said that they've been given an eviction notice. I am the co-signer for him. I helped him find an apartment after their last eviction. He asked me if I could be his co-signer again. Of course, this started another phone escalation because he assumed that their eviction had something to do with me. By the way, the only thing that you need to do right now is be aware you can listen to full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got stories at the wazoo. The absolute gall to get evicted and then be like, yeah, can you co-sign again for me? Because
this would be a
I just got
third
evicted.
time too. And
And-
also, do you have your son yet?
Yes, have you taken back your son? Also, why do you think that it's OP's fault you're getting evicted? She's a co-signer. She exists on the lease for this exact situation when you fail to pay. There's a backup plan there. They do sound
Obviously
terrible.
not OP, just the other people.
Your brother and his wife sound awful.
Yeah.
Like awful people. Why is she flying to the UK when they can't afford to pay rent? Why are they going on a trip to New York City when they can't pay rent and they're getting evicted from their apartment to save their fake marriage that shouldn't exist? That's crazy.
God.
I honestly do think, yeah, maybe you should be thinking about having a 7th child to raise.
I would be terrified for this kid to go back. His biological parents.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. After thinking deeply and chatting with my husband, we decided to take custody of our nephew. Yes! We have plans to work with CPS to get some funding for his care. He went on our trip, and he's such a sweet, energetic little boy who doesn't deserve to be crapped on. We have 5 daughters and only 1 son. Now our son will have a little buddy. My parents lost parental rights over my brother and I when we were 12. For the people worrying that our nephew's going to be placed in a foster home, it's something I just don't have the heart to do. I don't want to continue that cycle. And there are some more relevant comments here. OP on why her brother and his wife were going on vacations, avoiding parenting responsibilities, and his thought process. Not trying to defend him, but it has more to do with his IQ than his priorities. We were both substance exposed in the womb, and it affected him way more than me. I feel more like a parent to him than his twin sister at times because he's clueless and his IQ is very low.
Oh my God, they're
And-
twins?
And now I feel a little worse. Now I feel a little bad. You know, he's just a guy who didn't get a fair shake at life.
For him, sure. For sister-in-law,
No, I don't feel
scum
no.
of the earth.
Don't feel bad for her.
Scum of the earth.
She is the scum of the earth.
I'm still not loving brother, but I do feel for him.
Given that information, though, it makes a little more sense. That's why I added in my original post that I had to remind him to be back before the 28th. Otherwise, he would have still been on vacation with his child's birthday. Comment 1, I'm honestly wondering why the landlord didn't contact you before evicting your brother if you were a co-signer on the lease. That would make you equally responsible for the rent getting paid. Either your brother put a fake phone number down for you or the landlord didn't fully do their job. You should have had some heads up that this was happening, and I'm glad you took your nephew. And I hope he has a good life with you, your husband, and your kids. Opie says, it wasn't a rent issue. My brother is unemployed by choice, and his wife is also. I was covering most of their rent. It was a filth issue. They ignored the landlord warnings. Roaches and mice were living rent-free in their place. They were also sneaking in pets without approval from the landlord. Thanks, by the way. And that is the end of that story. Might want to try a little outdoor living. If you're going to invite the roaches and the rats into your place of abode, into your humble abode, they just go ahead and go outside. That's where they are. Yeah, you can't have a kid in there either. Ugh. Key thing to realize, nephew's out of there. Hey, OP got a little seventh child.
Like, honestly.
Well, I'm sure
they're
OP didn't
amazing.
know that there was a filth issue.
No, I know that OP didn't know.
Yeah.
It's just like the hindsight of thinking back and being like that poor little boy.
I would play with the mice and the bugs. I gave them all names. It's pretty nice. 2-year-old spirit can make anything a decent situation.
I'm glad that he got his little water park day with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably felt a little like it was a little birthday thing almost.
Yeah, I'm sure he felt like this was the best thing ever.
My boyfriend wanted to confiscate my boots because he feels small.
I need your boots to feel big.
Tomorrow, I am going to a friend's graduation. I pulled out a pair of knee-high flat boots to wear to the occasion, and this really upset my boyfriend. By the way, this comes from Reddit Owl 1313. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, he explained his past girlfriend made him feel insecure about their height difference by only wearing taller shoes when not around him. Since I have only worn these shoes on very few occasions, he explained he believed I was choosing to wear them tomorrow as he would not be there. I explained to him this was absolutely not the case. I gave reasons to show him my sincerity in the matter. I explained I had worn these boots around him on 2 other occasions. I also added that I have worn taller shoes around him before. Additionally, these boots have flat soles, so I reassured him I am no taller in these than I am in my everyday sneakers around him. I have never once said anything about our height difference. In fact, I absolutely love it. I have always reassured him this is not an issue for me whatsoever, and whoever made him feel this way before is a complete and utter a-hole. He said it would help him to overcome this insecurity if I just wore these boots around just him in the future before wearing them without him. I explained this logic made no sense, as I've worn these boots around him before, and clearly the 2 times before did not give him any reassurance, so I was skeptical a 3rd or 4th time would be any different. But after arguing for some time, I agreed to not wear the boots to the graduation, but I would wear them to the lunch following that he would also be attending. He then asked me, how would he know if I really didn't wear the boots? I was shocked and said, lying's a whole different thing. I told him I gave him my word. Mind you, at this point, we're parked outside his house and it's 1 a.m. He proceeded to say we need to drive back to my house to pick up the boots and bring them back to his house so he could keep them with him until the lunch to reassure him I would not wear them.
Buddy. No, buddy.
This is where I drew the line, saying he's gone too far. I agreed to his terms, and then to add insult to injury, he needed the boots in his possession to assure him I wouldn't wear them, as if my word is not enough. When I pushed back on this, he said, I never cared about him, and if I did, I would be understanding of his insecurity and doing whatever it takes to make him feel comfortable. I care immensely about him, and it pissed me off that anyone ever made him feel this way to begin with. But at what point is giving into rational demands doing more damage to our relationship than good?
Yeah.
And I feel like you meant irrational demands.
The whole crux of this is that these boots don't make you taller.
Yeah.
They just are tall boots.
And even if they did, he really shouldn't be deciding what shoes you're wearing because he doesn't want to feel short. Get over it, dude.
It doesn't matter how tall or short your girlfriend is.
Does
Everyone
your
knows
girlfriend
you're
look
short.
hot? Does your girlfriend look hot?
Everyone can look at you and know that you're short.
They
It doesn't
know.
matter how tall your girlfriend is, you're still short. And that's okay. I was short forever until I turned 18. And it was arguably the worst time ever to be short. Because after you get out of high school, your height doesn't matter at all.
He said he has accommodated for insecurities of mine in the past. Reassurance about an ex who consistently reached out to him while we're together, which he has done, and as have I for him. However, this to me appeared to be far too irrational for me. I would be doing him more harm than good. At what point does he acknowledge how irrational he is being and work through it on his own terms, and not by me obliging to his demands? I want a relationship that pushes me to grow as a person. If I ever presented a truly mind-boggling insecurity, I hope he would stand his ground for me as well. Granted, it would hurt in the moment. Am I a bad girlfriend for taking a stand to this behavior and not giving in? I don't think it's right to say I don't care about him just because I took a stand to this. Here's some comments. I would be wearing these shoes to both things now.
Yeah, I would just wear them and be like, see, it's the same. And I don't think you're a bad girlfriend.
I don't understand why she has to change shoes from the event she's not with him to the event directly after that she's with him so that he doesn't feel short. They're the same shoe.
You're going to be just as short. I think this really just goes, I mean, the whole point of this isn't even about that. It's about you were like, no, it's fine. They're not going to make me that much taller than you. And he's just like, I don't believe you. And
Not
so
even that. She said,
now you're
I
like,
won't wear them to the first event. And he said, I don't believe you. Bring them to me.
yeah. So it's like, he's not, it's
He's
a
not
matter of like, well, you
trusting.
just you don't trust me. You don't believe the things I'm saying.
Yeah. That's such a weird place to find like a lack of trust in a relationship. And I don't like it. We have some comments. Comment 1. Sorry, but your significant other needs to be called out a bit. He's controlling. That's unacceptable. He doesn't get to manage his insecurities by dictating your actions. That's absurd. The fact that he thinks he should be able to do this, doesn't see anything wrong with it, is a huge red flag. The man needs therapy to work on his self-esteem. You are not responsible for fixing him. He is. OP replied, I tried my best to explain this, but he lashed out, said I'm awful for refusing to help his insecurity. At one point in the argument, he said I was wearing the boots to show off my butt, to which he quickly retracted, saying he only said that out of anger. When I said this seemed more like the real reason, and his reasoning seemed more to imply this, he flipped out, saying, I'm accusing him of lying, and I'm effed up for telling him what his truth is. He actually ended the relationship, claiming I was a horrible girlfriend for not doing everything in my power to make him comfortable. Well, good. I'm glad you
Yeah.
got rid of him.
The trash took itself out. I love him accusing you of doing the thing he did to you.
Quite literally.
Oh, so you don't trust me?
Comment 2, I don't think so. I've always believed that a partner shouldn't determine what you wear. You have been more than accommodating in the past. This is something that he needs to work through and overcome. You should suffer or be made out as a liar because he's insecure. And by the way, I wouldn't be lying if I told you that there are more full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We have just a little bit more.
Just a smidgen.
I'm glad you guys broke up.
A smidgen of a pigeon.
He sounds like a little small baby.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's like this guy has completely let his own insecurity implode his relationship.
And who cares if it makes your girlfriend's butt look good? Don't you want that?
Yeah, would you do what? Like, why? That is just something I will never understand. The guys talking to their girlfriend, being like, "Why do you want to look so good?
Why do you want to look hot?
Why do you
around
wanna,
me too? Like he's gonna be there.
Well, you want to be hot and stuff with me all the time?
And is
what?
this a funeral that they're going to?
Everyone's gonna know my girlfriend's hot. It'll put you under 5 blankets and cut holes in
Never
them.
leave the house again. Comment 3. What's actually happening? You look hot in these boots. He doesn't want anyone to flirt with you while you're wearing them. He used the height thing as the reason, so he wouldn't seem so out of line. It makes no sense if he's not going to be around anyway. Also, this guy's massively insecure and trying his best to be controlling. The fact that he wouldn't drop this is such a red flag. You can wear whatever you want. It's one of those rights we have as adult humans. Comment 4. Your reaction seems right on to me. You were considerate until he went off the edge. These are his issues, and they seem to be complex for him. By the way, this is irrelevant to the issue here. I had a girlfriend who was 4 inches taller than me. The day she wore heels was glorious. But heels hurt, so I made it clear she never needed to do it again. My wife is a foot shorter than me. Same rule about the heels. Pain is not sexy. That's the end of that story.
My father-in-law disrespected me multiple times, so I made my husband choose between us.
It's me or your dad.
And there is a trigger warning for mentions of mistreatment. I, 34 female, have been with my husband, 32 male, for 11 years. My husband and his family are from another country, so when we started dating, I justified many things as cultural differences. But along the way, the disrespect never stopped. By the way, this comes from I don't know what I'm doing, 321, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, there are so many instances where my father-in-law disrespected me, but the one that broke the camel's back was this one. When I was 32, I gave birth to the first grandson of the family. In the last weeks of my pregnancy, father-in-law was divorcing, so I told my husband that we should let him stay in our guest room while he got his life together. It started with the fact that I didn't eat meat. So I bought a skillet for him to cook in his room, but he started cooking when I was working in my studio, and the smell filled the space. I was pregnant, so the smell hit me harder and made it impossible to work. Even after I gave birth, he did the same during nap time, which still prevented me from working. And by the way, this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Yeah, that is tough. I think pregnancy-wise, it would be
Yeah.
nice for him to like respect and be like, I understand this is like actually making you ill to smell.
Absolutely, yeah.
Outside of pregnancy-wise,
I think
I
it's a little
kind of
bit.
think you gotta let the man cook his meat.
Yeah. I think after that, I would say kind of have to deal with it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Like, as long as he's not feeding you meat and
Yeah.
he's respectful that that's your diet, you kind of
Yeah.
also have to respect that that's his diet.
Yeah, I agree. I also guess I'm not like the type of person who doesn't eat meat that like is disgusted by the smell, because I still find
Yeah.
the smell pretty appetizing. So
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe like that's not your experience.
I'm picturing just straight bacon every day.
Which to me smells good, but
It does.
I was struggling with my body image, and every time he saw me, he would ask when I was going to start going to the gym. You're gone.
Ugh.
You're gone. Sometimes I was struggling and alone, and neither he nor my sister-in-law would even grab the baby so I could eat. They only came to ask what I was eating, if I cooked something, or if I was going to. He would come in the middle of dinner to look at my plate and comment, well, that was literally my only time to relax. They never had dinner with us, never helped with chores, and never changed a diaper. It started to take a toll on me. One day, while having breakfast with my older daughter, 12 female at the time, he came into the kitchen to tell me he had already found an apartment. Thank goodness. I already knew, but I congratulated him and acted surprised. He then looked at my daughter and said he bet we were throwing a party. I just stared at him, unsure of what to say. I couldn't let him disrespect me in front of my teenage daughter. While I was thinking of what to say, he asked her again, so I stopped him and asked what was wrong with him and if that was necessary. He tried to justify it, but I was done and told him I didn't care about his explanation. I was done and tired of taking so much BS. I even cried and told him I was done letting him belittle me, and involving my daughter was the line. I told my daughter to go, and we left the dining room. I called my husband and told him everything. I was shaking and so angry. I grew up in a harmful household and was in a harmful relationship, and I have CPTSD. The things he was doing were extremely triggering, to the point that I didn't even want to come home. I couldn't create, I was unhappy, I hated my body. Little did he know I was struggling with complications from a copper IUD. I'm allergic to copper and didn't know it. Well,
Aren't you pregnant right
this is post-pregnancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
now? Time jumped. I missed that part.
The copper IUD is already supposed to create an allergic reaction. That's how it works. To like be doubly allergic to it, not great.
Very reactive.
Yeah. You're definitely not getting pregnant.
Yeah.
I was swollen and ended up at the hospital twice and spent 3 months with it in my body because no one wanted to take it out.
What?
But that's a whole other story. What? Time passed and he acted like he had changed, but today was Christmas Eve and he invited us to his new girlfriend's house. He stopped every conversation to say that it was the best Christmas dinner in 11 years. The same amount of time I had been with my husband. Funny how that works. For the last 3 Christmases, I hosted at our home, breaking my back cooking for them without any help. They didn't bring anything. We cooked everything ourselves. They only bought the food. I was so sad. When we left, I told my husband, and instead of simply validating how I felt, he justified his behavior, saying that that's just the way he is and that he thinks he never said it that way. I didn't care. I just wanted to vent and be heard, especially because he had left to entertain our toddler 2 years. I'm sad. I have no family and I just wanted to be accepted. But my husband literally told me they hated me and would never accept me that way. I'm sorry, if your husband is telling you that his family hates you, maybe we should limit contact.
Yeah, honestly, that's wild to me that a husband would just be like, yeah, they hate you.
Yeah. And not try and fix that.
Right.
Not try and keep you away from them. Not in like a hide you, but like make it so you don't have to interact with people who hate you.
Yeah.
It hurt a lot, even though it's probably true. My daughter is living with her bio dad for the first time this Christmas, and I was planning to enjoy the evening with my husband and toddler, then go to my father-in-law's house to exchange gifts. By the way, you should exchange full episodes of stories just like this with your friends, and you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left to the story. Any final thoughts?
Ooh. Yeah, this is a tough one because it's like, obviously it's nothing like appalling. Like he's being terribly rude
Yeah.
comments kind of thing that no one wants to be around, and that's like super mean still.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say that's not appalling because it still is like, why are we doing this, dude?
I just think the behavior of your husband is a little bit more.
I'm more
Concerning
like
to
that.
me.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
husband needs to step up and be like, dude, stop.
Yeah, and it seems like he just excuses that behavior,
Right.
which is not okay.
Like, I don't think that a valid excuse is like, well, he's just like that as a person.
Yeah. After this, I don't want to. I even spent days making mugs for everyone as gifts, but now I don't want to give them away. They don't deserve my art, time, or effort. My husband wants to go anyway with our toddler and leave me alone. Christmas is hard for me, and he's putting it on me. I either stay alone for 2 hours, as he says, or go with him again. He doesn't want me to go and go through this again. I feel like 11 years is way too long to not have boundaries. And I'm tired of being second on his list of priorities. He never takes free time from work unless it's to plan something with his family. And when that happens, he forgets that I become anxious when plans change. I'm picky with food and I am who I am. He usually helps me and accepts me. But when his family is around, he doesn't care and changes everything, ignoring me. I'm also neurodivergent, and he knows this. I don't know if I'm the a-hole for asking him not to go. I feel like he needs to start putting us, his family, as a priority. But I don't know if I'm right for asking this. And that is the end of that story. What do you think?
I think that the problem definitely lies more in like your husband not supporting you.
Yeah. Seems like it's a continuous issue.
Yeah. I'm not sure that 2 hours for like a Christmas visit is where I would personally draw the line of like,
Yeah.
you can't go. But going forward, I would need more effort for like my direct family that we've
Yeah.
built together.
Absolutely. I would be having a conversation about you need to start taking off time to hang out with your immediate family and my side.
Yeah.
Not just with yours.
Right.
And you need to stand up for me. And I have to hear all of these terrible comments from your family members.
Yeah, 1000%.
My husband neglects me for video games. When I got upset, he told me I need to find my own friends.
Maybe you need to find a new husband.
My husband is in the military and we finally live together after being apart for a little over a year. I love him so much and I would do anything for him. Lately though, the new Call of Duty came out and he usually plays it for about an hour after work, which doesn't bother me because I know he needs time to relax.
Yeah, about an hour is not too crazy.
That's not crazy.
Not
But
too
after,
crazy.
it's sort of like I go stream and then I go play video game that is simulating a streaming thing. By the way, this comes from Loser Teens 2 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, however, with his schedule, he only gets one 3-day weekend every 2 weeks, Friday through Saturday. And on days he works, he usually works from 11 a.m. and gets home anywhere between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. On his 3-day weekends, we always try to find at least one thing to do together so that at least we get to spend the day together making memories. This weekend, we're supposed to go to the zoo. His friend stayed over Friday night and left yesterday, Saturday morning, after breakfast. I spent all morning making a breakfast recipe I found online, and when we ate, his friend left. After his friend left, we sat on the couch for a bit so that I could have a break after cooking, and my husband goes on to his video game. It was a little before noon at this point. I asked him how long he'd be on because we're supposed to go to the zoo, and all of a sudden, he didn't want to go anymore. So I got annoyed, and I told him that I didn't want to watch him play video games all day and that if he needed me, I'd be upstairs. I stayed in bed pretty much all day, bored out of my mind. We just moved to a new state and I don't have any friends and I don't know the area yet, so that's why I didn't leave. My husband still didn't come up. I had gone down a few times to ask him, please turn it off and spend time with me, but he said he was busy doing a challenge with his friends.
That's so mean.
That is so mean.
I don't like it.
Quick, they're coming in my back door. They're on me. Pull out. On my left. He's coming on my left. He's coming on his left. That's the challenge they were doing.
That's the challenge. That's great. That's great.
I had asked him that a couple of times through the day, and eventually I just gave up. At 11 p.m., he was still playing his game, and I just went to bed. At 2 a.m., he woke me up, getting under the covers and trying to cuddle me.
2 a.m.? He went to bed at 2 a.m. after playing games all day?
He played for probably he played for 14 hours.
I legitimately, that is kind of crazy to me because I get like, I can't do that.
I did that once, and that was for me playing Minecraft, and I was mainly doing things to help Angie out in our world.
Yeah.
But it was like, that was a weird day too. I just like did not do anything that day.
Yeah, some people have more longevity than me. I think it's like I don't know, it's my attention span. Like I can't spend all day, like like sometimes even with TV, I can't spend more than 2 hours on like I have to get up. I'm like,
that's cool. I told him, no, I have been asking for attention all day and you want to give it to me until we are going to sleep, so you don't get to touch me now. I got frustrated and moved to the spare room and slept there. On my way out of the room, he apologized, but I stood my ground because I was frustrated. This morning, Sunday, I woke up and took a shower and then went back to the spare room while my hair dried. I heard him get up and he instantly went downstairs. He didn't check on me, which was weird to me because when we argue, we usually always apologize in the morning, but I figure out that since I actually moved into a different room, that it was a different story and I had moved past that, but still stayed in the room. I heard him downstairs start playing the video game again.
Come on.
And at this point, I was livid.
I'd be so upset if I was like, hey, I want you to spend time with me like the whole day yesterday, and he just didn't do it. And then instead of apologizing, he freaking goes and plays the video game again?
Yeah, you had your day. You had your day. I need like a half a day of just like not doing anything to get back into it.
Sometimes I just need like a me day, like half a me day. I can't do a whole day by myself though. I get bored.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't do it. And like, that's usually kind of what Angie and I do. Like, I'll just kind of like have half a me day doing whatever and then go see her and like, but I don't understand this, like just playing video games that much. Keon and Dakota are addicted to this new Call of Duty game.
I can't. I can't.
I give it about another hour or so that I can cool off and then go downstairs and confront him about it again. I said, look, I love that you have friends. I really do. But you also have a wife here and you need to spend time with me. And then he told me, you need to go make some friends because I don't always want to spend time with you.
Like, she's asking for one day.
And you're married, dude.
And you're freaking married.
That makes no sense.
I totally understand that, she should have time with friends and stuff. It shouldn't always be with your partner. But you just moved to a new place and she's asking for one day that you guys already planned to have together.
And it's easy to hop on a game with your friends.
Yeah.
Because they're already on there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to actually make a good relationship with other people.
Yeah, come on.
I agree. I do want friends here too, but I just don't want to just meet someone off of the internet and then go to the zoo. I told him I do have friends, and he said, name one, in a super mocking way that made me feel so bad. I went upstairs and started crying and replayed back in my head all the times he's just broken my trust. A few hours went by. I went downstairs again and it's the same thing. I said, can we please watch a movie or something? I've cooled down. I'm sorry. And he said, it's too late. I'm already in a game. Why don't you just go to the gym? I took the hint and I went back upstairs.
I freaking hate this guy.
What the actual heck?
How do you think that you're in the right here?
You are playing video games when you have a whole wife right there for you
got a whole
that
wife.
wants to hang out with you.
Some people don't have a whole wife. You got a whole wife.
By now, it was 6 p.m. and I went down and asked if he wanted to have dinner together and watch a movie, to which he replied, I just ate. And I snapped and I said, of course you ate. And you didn't even ask me if I was hungry because all you've done for the past 3 days is think about yourself. And then he said, I love you, but I always spend time with you and I don't always want to hang out with you. It really hurt me because now it feels like every time we do something together, he's not having fun with me. I told him, you heard me crying and you didn't even come to check if I was okay. And I would have checked on you. And he said, I don't want to listen to you cry. And if you have to cry, you can watch us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. Divorce or not.
Divorce. Leave him. Yeah. He sucks. Like, you're expressing your feelings and your emotions. He's like, your emotions are so annoying. I hate this. It's so frustrating. I have to listen to you cry when I could be playing Call of Duty. I hate him.
And it's weird that before he's never done anything like this, and all of a sudden he's doing this. I would look into it and see if like there's something that's changed, but it doesn't seem like he's giving you that attention. Yeah,
the moving in together, the moving away from everyone they know. I think that does change a lot when you have to kind of rely, like one of you is more relying on the other for company and stuff because it's a new place.
We went back and forth, and now I'm back upstairs again, wishing that I had a husband that cared about me. I just feel like he's prioritizing other things over me, and it's really taking a toll on my mental health. Like I said, I don't mind him doing it or having friends at all, but it's becoming a problem in our relationship. I know I've said some rude things too, but honestly, would I be the bad apple if I left? I also want to add that my husband cheated on me 3 times. Never
Leave
physically.
him!
Never physically, but it was mentally, and it always included me and my appearance getting talked bad about. We decided to move past it now, but it still affects me, and every time I bring it up, he tells me the same thing. It's your fault for choosing to stay with me. If I'm being dramatic about the video games, I just wanted this to be known for context because maybe it's not all necessarily the video games, but it's me being self-conscious from other past things. Let me know.
Girl, leave.
I think it was the other things.
I think it's all of those things. He sucks and he doesn't care about you, which is so sad, but it's the case and you need to leave him.
Yeah, he just wants things that are easy.
Yeah.
And he was like, you should have not been with me if you
He's
didn't want to
like,
be with
well,
me.
if you didn't want to be with me, why didn't you break up with me? There's no takes back. You can't say that you're mad at me for those things when you took me back.
What kind of response is that?
So, just a baby man. Baby man.
Baby man. Oh
Get
my
out of here, dude. I
gosh.
hate you.
That is wild.
This guy sucks. But that's the end of that story. So we'll see you next time.